Fellas, I am fresh back from Danny Polischuk's Hawaiian wedding where the big man is going to be there for 8 more days. So he's going to be back next episode. But out of respect for Danny, I will not be doing an intro out of respect for the big man. But I put together a super episode, a banger episode this week. So first, or not first, but we had JJ Liberman and Justin Silver on the podcast to go through a whole bunch of stuff, which was actually a pretty crazy episode. And then came back to the studio at 9, watched the Trump debates, and responded with my take on everything that just happened there. And then on top of that, if you want this t-shirt, RyanLongStore.com, the Fellas University, FU. And I'm going to announce some tour dates because I've been actually putting together this tour in the fall, which I'm going to release a special and then go on tour with all new material. And I'm going to Auckland, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Saratoga Springs, Fort Wayne, Nashville just announced, Chicago, Louisville, Phoenix, Portland, Edmonton, Tacoma, Minneapolis. So this is the super episode of the Boyscast, and also on the Patreon, we went through all the Julian Assange stuff and more. So, all right. Thank you. Patreon.com/theboyscast, RyanLongStore.com, RyanLongComedy.com, and this is the episode.
The boys.
It's the Boyscast.
The lads.
It's the Boyscast.
The dudes.
Prepare yourself for Boyscast.
The bros.
It's the Boyscast.
The homies.
It's the Boyscast.
The dudes.
Experience the Boyscast.
The Boyscast.
Before the boys cut to our banger of an episode that we had today, we stayed at the studio all day. So I've been here for 8 hours so we could watch the debate to give the takes. JJ Liberman was not happy with the debate.
I'll tell you something.
Okay.
Dude. I'll tell you something. I'm realizing right now that if your whole life, like I'm literally seeing as the lights go on, we're here watching the debate. If your whole life is based on being a political person, you're doing like this is your day, everyday politics.
How big of a deal it is?
I would also hate it. It sucks.
You're saying that I kind of don't get your point, if I'm being honest right now. I'm trying to go with what you got
just
going on.
watching that, like covering politics sucks.
I actually went when I was younger. I actually was at like a newsroom for a debate once because when I was working at the hockey rink and I got talking to some guy and he goes, "If you want, you can come with me to the debate." And I was like in grade 11 and I went and sat in the newsroom and I was like a PA basically.
You liked it?
No, it was pretty boring. I kind of thought at the time I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. And then when I actually watched it, you're just like, whatever.
That's what I mean. Like right now, this is like this.
You didn't think that was interesting though?
No, I thought it was. I
think you're just tired. I think that's your problem.
It could be I'm tired.
I thought there's like, I would say most people watching out of the gate were just like, this is not great for the country. I don't think anyone was like super involved, loving everything that was going on. But I'll say the funniest part, first out of the gate, Biden came out looking real old out of the gate, right?
Really rough.
So he came out when he first started, he comes out and he was just like,
he was mumbling.
The first 6 minutes, I was just like, oh, this is brutal.
Eyes were blinking.
But then probably by the end, he was like, he was so bad at the beginning that it seemed like he wasn't as bad at near the end. Still brutal and really, really old. But at the beginning, he came out like crazy bad. And then, by the way, I don't know if you know this, because he was like coughing and all this stuff, like trying to get like clear his throat. As soon as it ended, every news place basically posted that he had a cold, and they were like already trying to run with the story of like they were already doing damage control right after it came out.
Have you ever been to a Walmart or something like that, and you're checking out, and there's an old dude bagging?
Yeah, it was like that.
And I felt bad.
That was probably the funniest part to me was because they would first of all, well, I'll just say this: probably the funniest part to me was when they were talking about how old they were, and then they're like, "Is it going to be a problem?" And then basically they started arguing over who's better at golf.
Yes.
So
highlight of the debate for me. I've seen the swing.
He goes, "I seen your swing."
Yeah,
and then
you're not a 6.
I could actually beat you when I had a handicap. They started arguing out. This kind of happened a lot where they just go back and forth. He goes, "You're the worst president." He's actually the worst president. It's like, actually, you're the worst president. It's like, it's weird because they kind of just said the same thing over and over again, which was like, this guy's the worst. This guy's the worst.
It just really exposes the system that it's a figurehead and other people are running it. Like, let's get the people.
So?
Yeah, let's get this people who are actually making the decisions.
Well, definitely they should be. If that was a debate, it was like What did him really no favors was because we're watching on this YouTube stream, and then they kept cutting to like old presidents because I guess that's when they do commercials, and they were showing all the old presidents.
C-SPAN.
Yeah, and then when they cut to Biden, and it was like, I guess 3 years ago or 3.5 years ago, right?
Looked great.
He was like honestly pretty fine.
Yeah.
And then they cut back to him. It's like this guy is like almost dead.
So
The man is not looking good, folks.
No, not looking good. New York City aged me as a 43-year-old in 2 years. I lost my hair, but I'm not running the country.
Well, that's obviously it's like with him, you're just like, okay, so 100% it would be Kamala Harris. That's a guarantee.
Which is also even worse because
If he aged in this 4 years, if that's what it looked like, what is the next for? Obviously,
brutal.
the guy's done.
Yeah,
Trump's
he's
kind
gonna-
of seen the
he's
same.
gonna-
They showed Trump's thing. He sort of looked the same.
he's going to age like AI. This in 4 years, it's going to be a different thing.
It's going to be exponential, 100%. So the man wasn't looking good.
But that's the scary thing about the Kamala Harris because I haven't seen her in 4 years.
Oh, I know they keep her in
keep
a
her-
dungeon, dude.
They
She
should
literally
be-
fucking locked in. She goes. She comes out for one every now and then. She comes out for like one thing to like do like a speech at like some black dinner in like a city that you never heard of. You know what I
Yes.
mean? In a Legion Hall.
Yes.
Okay, what did you think that was Trump's good things and bad things?
Just honestly, I think I was so upset about the debate because I had big expectations from it.
It was a letdown in general.
It was complete letdown in general.
And no one likes a reboot. That's the problem, man. With America, like no matter what, however
Stale.
much you liked Bad Boys, the new Bad Boys is not going to be as good. Bad Boys 5. This is 100%. You went to see a movie and you're kind of like, obviously the first one was better.
Yeah, it seems very stale. That's what I felt.
They said
about
the
this.
same thing over and over again, especially Biden's things. You're like, not only is he saying the things from like before, you're saying the things that everyone's kind of made your mind up on. You've already heard the thing that they're trying to say. Like, for example, Trump said, find people on both sides. Then you've watched the actual video. And if you want to believe that, you can believe that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're not. So now it was
There's
just like,
no
I guess
facts.
it's pandering or something to
Yeah.
like people that already agree with you to
There
some
was
degree.
literally no facts.
And they both already had a term, so which is they've never had that before, probably, right? Maybe once before back in the day.
It was brutal.
It was just like your 4 years sucked. It was like
Yeah.
your 4 years fucking sucked.
Yeah, you're bad. You're bad. Yeah.
So it's a lot of that.
You're a loser. No, you're a loser.
And then they had toddler rules, so there's no interrupting. So on
Yeah.
top of that, because it was toddler rules where basically they turned their mics off when they were speaking, because of that, so then they would always have something to say and they asked them a new question. They never answered a question, right? So they just like, I remember what was the one I wrote down? There's like a bunch of them, but he was like, that was when they started the worst president stuff. He was just like, so what do you want to, what is your plan for childcare? He goes, this guy's a piece of shit.
Yes.
He was the worst
they didn't
president.
answer the question.
No, they didn't do anything near
Yeah.
the questions for most of the questions.
I think it looks. I think that looks embarrassing on behalf of the country.
That's sort of sad to watch.
Yeah, I think other countries watch us, like the superpowers. Like the superpowers are China, Russia, North Korea. North Korea because of military superpower.
I didn't think Trump looked that bad.
No, I
though.
don't think it looked bad.
He looked. He did just. As far as the stuff he was saying, he kind of said the same thing over and over
just said the
again.
same thing over
I kind
again.
of felt like he would have been better off like letting Biden be that bad and just being normal. He was kind
Yes.
of. He said. He does the thing where you just sort of talk and then like I'm sure that you've done that on like a podcast or whatever. You
I
just
did it right at the start
You
of
kind of
this.
just start talking and then you just say stuff. He did a lot of that where he was just kind of like run on sentences about how bad Biden is or
Yeah,
whatever.
really.
But I guess the things he actually said were like more true. It seemed like Biden, everything he said was just kind of like a CNN talking point from 2015. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you said the only thing I think that I kind of agree with. The abortion thing was kind of.
That was one of the categories they did. Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of watching the abortion part and like kind of thinking about watching it like, okay, like chicks I know that are like somewhat reasonable.
Yeah.
Like how they're seeing it. And I was trying to like watch it through their eyes that are very, because a lot of the debate was like, if this guy's in, it's going to blow up the country. If this guy's in, you're dead. Like both of them were sort of like, it's the end of the world if the other guy goes in, right? And I was kind of watching it through that eyes of like a woman. And I felt like he probably could have said less in that part.
Yeah, which he should have said less.
Yeah, because it's like, it was one of those things where like the people that are super for abortion already agree with him. You already have them a little bit where.
It also seems like more people are, they've kind of I feel like the people who are anti-abortion are more extremist and vocal about it, where the people who are
But what are they going to do? Vote liberal? Like, you already got them, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's right. Yeah, the people who are pro-choice, it just seems like there's a lot of conservative people who are more pro-choice.
That's what I'm saying. I think that you have a lot of kind of people that are probably pro-choice that were going to vote for Trump. So you could have, I think that when he said he was like, it's down to the states, I think he could have just stuck with that. There was probably like 4 times where I felt like Trump made a pretty good point. I was like, that's a pretty good answer. And then he just talked for another 2 minutes and it kind of made it worse. And you're just like, if you just said the first thing, you didn't really need to keep going and going. You know that thing, like, it's like, you know how everyone like incriminates themselves in court when they just keep talking?
A liar keeps that. A good liar doesn't say much. A bad liar keeps. Well, I was, yeah.
There was a bunch of stuff he said where I was like, he didn't really need to say much more.
But it is, they didn't give very anecdotal. I thought this stuff with Afghanistan was good too, where he's like, but they didn't give an anecdotal, like in terms of like the open border. Like, why is he not saying there's 40,000 migrants in hotels in New York City
did say
right
that.
now? See, he didn't say numbers. He was just saying
a
lot of hotel, but it sounds like, it just sounds like, oh, these are blanket statements opposed to like 40,000 people, this amount of dollars, that amount. Like I felt like it lacked facts.
And the facts that they did say were kind of like, they were both like, Biden was just like really throwing out haymakers of facts where it was just like, he threw out so many things that I felt like I wrote down a couple. I mean, his gaffes was hilarious basically at the beginning when he goes, there's 1,000 trillion, thousands of trillionaires that we've made. But he was like, you know, the like bleaching the arm, the kids in the cages stuff that was like Obama. Like he kind of said a bunch of stuff he said on Trump where it was like, that was Obama when you were the vice president.
Yeah.
So there was a bunch of that stuff.
The funny thing was too when he goes
suckers and losers, and it was just like the army loves me. He's like, actually, they like me, and I was like, the army, everyone.
When he called them super predators, and Biden went, his face went. He was so mad.
Oh yeah, he didn't like that. That was another thing I thought about Trump was that the way that his face moves, he always goes like, you know what I mean? And instead, I felt like if Biden said lies, he'd be better off like shaking his head no. Like, I know that seems like such a small thing, but he kept doing a face that looked like he was nodding yes.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
No, he kept thinking, he kept looking at him and going, but I was like, it seems like you should be nodding no.
You know,
should go like make a face like, what? That's crazy. But he kind of made a face that looks like he's nodding in approval.
You know what Biden does seem like? He does seem like if that was your grandfather, he'd still be kind of sharp with understanding stuff in the conversation, but he couldn't like execute conversation well. Like he's still sharp-minded,
right?
But he can't really.
I don't think sharp-minded. I think that he's like smart enough guy that's been doing this long enough that he's able to probably like click into being a politician.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like probably if you like, who's that stand-up? The Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah.
So he was like really kind of apparently pretty bad near the end.
Oh, really?
Except for when he went on stage. I think Biden's been been a politician for so long.
They know how to turn it on.
Yeah, and you just sort of like he just kind of like clicks into being a politician, and it's like autopilot a little bit. He has that sort of muscle, but any time that he has to like think on his feet, that's when he really starts saying 1,000 trillionaires.
Yeah, maybe that's also true about like when you get that rush of adrenaline. Because there was a guy who gave a speech once. He died. Do you remember the "Don't give up, don't ever give up" the basketball coach? He was dying of cancer, and he gave this tremendous speech at this ESPN awards ceremony. But he couldn't even walk that morning. But just because of the rush of the
I think Biden's got a bit of that.
Yeah.
But it was. I think again though, it was like when you're a half an hour in, you were kind of comparing it to the first 5 minutes. Where the first 5 minutes, you're like, this guy belongs in a fucking casket.
Big L.
And then
people
after
were tweeting
10 minutes, you're like, I guess he's like sort of a human now, which was comparing it to the beginning. It just seemed better. But then when they showed the old him, you're just like, this is crazy.
I think what happens is that after the 30-minute mark, you kind of get like with RFK. If you hear RFK talk for the first time, you're like, what the fuck? But then you get used to it.
I think he got better, though. I think he was like
a little sharper.
I just think he was like really struggling in the 7 minutes. Then he became like his normal self.
Yeah, maybe. But his normal self still was
Not
bad.
It was brutal.
Yeah, again, like if you see this guy bagging your groceries at Walmart, you would feel brutal.
That was one of the craziest things is when they asked like the question about, some people have problems with like the fact that you guys are so old. And then Biden has to be like, he's actually old. And it was like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
We're fucking have eyes. Like if you at that point, you're just like, when I think Trump said like something about him being a politician and he's just like, he'll say whatever, lie to your face. That was the epitome of that, where you have a guy that I'm watching him like is barely there. And he's he's just like, this guy's the one who should fucking take cognitive tests.
But Trump doesn't see. I just watched Trump on. Did you watch him on Logan Paul?
He doesn't seem much older than he ever did. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. When I
didn't watch that, don't I?
I watched The Celebrity Apprentice, 2012, 2013. I was really into it. Like I would watch that every Sunday night, and he seems no different.
Yeah, it's just similar. Yeah, I think that people, when they say that he's like way older, it's like, yeah, well, you're lying.
Yeah,
he doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, the guy does golf every day. It's really hard to age when you're an older guy and you're doing something physical every day, and there is something to that.
Of course, but I think with most old people, it's like you're fine, and then like it just like switches, and then once it switches, it seems to happen pretty rapidly.
Yes, quick. The downfall's fast.
The downfall's fast, and it seems like, I guess you look at that video of him before, and then look at it now. You're like, okay, that was 4 years. Like another 4 years. Are you like crazy?
Yeah, it's very scary.
So then the other thing that was funny to me was that like, because obviously, Trump probably got like the worst media coverage out of any president. And it's interesting that his strategy is just to sort of like ignore that. Like anytime he talks about anything he did, he goes, and even this Roe v. Wade thing, he was like, and everyone agreed with it. He said that he's like the most beloved guy. Like he kind of just, it's like he just you're like, you were the most hated guy.
Pretend MSNBC doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Rachel Maddow doesn't exist.
He just sort of like pretends everyone
loves him. Even Jake Tapper, who hates him, he didn't even go after him.
Yeah, it sort of works a little bit. It's like if you're trying to pick up a girl and you're just like, dude, women love me, and she's like, it's almost
you're
like
disgusting.
When like a guy has like a hot chick, it like convinces the girls, like, I don't know, maybe this guy's like attractive or something. Like girls seem to like him. I think that's his technique.
Pickup artist.
If I just tell everyone how much everyone loves me, they're like, oh, maybe I'm crazy for hating him so much. Everyone seems to love him.
Do you think the strategy was do you think his camp told him to calm down because Biden's going to be so bad? That's why he didn't say fake news. He didn't do a lot of fake news.
Yes,
he didn't do a lot of that stuff. He didn't say Sleepy Joe. He didn't do fake news.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think
but neither did Biden really MAGA America. But it also sounds like when Biden did say that once, it sounded very cliche. Like he
said what?
He goes, Trump's MAGA America. It sounded cliche. Almost hack.
I couldn't agree more. So much of this stuff that like they were like when Biden was relying on that stuff, it really felt like 2015.
Yeah, hack.
Yeah, it did feel hack. Yeah,
stale.
Well, it feels like someone, like talking about toxic masculinity, like non-ironically. You're like, that moment's over.
Yeah, or
like no one really, like everyone who was like all about that stuff, like kind of everyone's agrees that stuff's over. So
yeah, nobody talks about it.
No one uses that phrase without kind of being like, even like white privilege. If someone says that, they're kind of like, yeah, white privilege. Like they kind of have a little bit of like irony to it because like everyone disagrees.
I have a thing like that where I want to say hipster on stage to explain the person, but I feel that like just saying
hipster feels like you're old.
Old.
Yeah, but I think that there was a bit of that where he was kind of like when he was saying the fine people on both sides drinking bleach, all that sort of stuff. It was just like.
Yeah.
But no one answered a single, well, maybe not a single one, but it was like they were really fucking avoiding the question.
They were just going back to the...
But I kind of get that. It's like if someone's besides you, like talking shit about you, and then they ask you, what do you think of childcare? You're just like, no, I'm going to respond to this guy, what he just said, what they're like consider lies about me.
Yeah, that is what it is. It's I think it is a bad state of affairs when you have two.
You were flipping out. JJ was like pacing around the room, being like, "This is not good."
It was not good. I was surprised. I had these grandiose expectations that it was going to be some epic debate because nobody said it would.
You thought something crazy was going to happen, maybe, yeah.
And maybe it was a little bit more.
Trump was definitely put it in reserves, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was just a
But
little.
no, you're right, though. There is also a chance that Biden just, like, legitimately, like, freezes up and, like, you know what I mean? It could have easily been something where you're watching that debate and he just, like, legitimately freezes and doesn't know what to say. And, like, people have to come rush him off stage.
So I don't know if this is because who I follow on Twitter. I went on briefly, but it does seem like a lot of the accounts that I were following putting up big L's for Biden.
Yes, he looked terrible.
Yes.
That's odd. That's a no question.
So aren't you curious, though? Like,
I don't think there's any question that, like, Biden looked brutal in that debate.
So what if you're in the ecosystem of people who are, like, very leftist? What do you think they're saying right now?
I think they'd vote for him just because they hate Trump so much.
But how do they say Trump
I think
looked tonight?
I think
Stupid and
like
foolish?
What's the criticism?
Yeah, what's the consensus on the people who, like...
I would say that the criticism would be probably like, this guy won't take accountability for anything.
Right.
Like when they asked him about the Jan 6, when they asked him about the election, he's like, he still wouldn't say no. They go, would you accept the results of the election? And he goes, if it's a free and fair election. I think that those will have to be the points that they go, look, this guy won't take accountability. I think that's what they say probably. And I think if you were watching it as like a Biden fan and you really don't like Trump, you're just like, this guy seems like a meaner person and Biden kind of seems like an old grandfather, which maybe you're like, as a person, I just like him better. But yeah, I don't see how you could be like, if you remove Trump and you just go like, it was Biden versus anyone else, if there was 40 people there, he wouldn't make it to 38. Like if you're like two people getting eliminated today and Trump was out of the equation completely, and
Survivor. He
was one of 40 politicians.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him making it to 38.
If it's Survivor president, you have to vote someone off the island after the first episode.
He's gone real soon.
Biden's gone first.
Yes.
Even if you don't like Trump.
Exactly.
Biden's like, you're looking at Biden. Biden was like Dennis Rodman of Celebrity Apprentice. And Dennis Rodman kept on going, and people were like, this guy's an idiot. What the fuck's going on? And then eventually, like everyone's always saying, like, Dennis is a moron. Dennis is not doing work.
Tom Green got voted out before Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. And people are like, but why is Dennis still here? And he go, because Trump liked Dennis. And Trump would go, but that's like the same thing if like Biden was on it. He's like, he might sneak past the first week, but this guy's going.
I can't imagine him making it to he's not making it the top half. That's for fucking sure.
Really bad.
So there was that. The tax part, I feel like it's interesting when every people talk about this because like Trump will be basically say, he keeps saying, oh, he won't tax people and he lowers taxes. And then Trump has a pretty good point. And it was like, yes, because we raised more money with the lower taxes, which is the actual argument. You're just like, and it kind of, I feel like they won't engage with that point where you're like, if raising taxes always brings you more revenue, then why don't you just raise it to 100%? And it was like, the answer is obviously there's an amount where you're going to get less tax revenue if you take 100% of the profits. Okay, well, is 99 the number? Mm-hmm. He's like, well, at what point do you start kneecapping the companies? And the answer is like around 50 for people, and then I don't know what it is for companies. But if you got more revenue, then he's right. Yeah.
Well, the Biden answer was like, we do 6% and then we do a 1%. Like it was very confused.
I don't know what the fuck he was saying.
We had 172,000 and then at 400,000 and then the 1%. I was pretty confused, to be honest with you.
There was a bunch of stuff where you're like, what did you just even say?
Yeah,
I think that if you were to criticize both of them on that, you'd say Biden, you're like, I don't think you even know what you say. And then Trump, you just keep saying words, but you already said your point.
Yeah. I also feel
he just kept going back to like, worst president, this guy,
I also,
no border.
Yeah, I also feel like, I don't know why the presidents don't ever say this. Is this like the kind of the Wizard of Oz, where it's like, there's someone behind the curtain, like someone behind them. It's like when they ask about taxes, why didn't they say, I'm going to have the best tax? Like I would say, the person who I'm appointing to my cabinet is going to be XX, because isn't that who makes the decisions?
Yeah, you're right though. Why? Like, they sort of should say that.
Yeah, why not?
Like they kind of have to take credit for the whole thing themselves, whereas they should be like, I got this guy, he's better. He appoints the worst people. It should be literally
why didn't
an
he say
argument of who appoints who.
Yeah, why didn't he say like
well, that's what he said a bit. He goes, this guy never fires anyone. He lets them lifetime bureaucrats. He lets people just be there forever.
But that's what I mean. Like, why not specifics? Is like, who's that chick, the trans chick, who's the leader, the Biden's leader of the
health or whatever.
There's two of them.
He's got a couple trans chicks in the
but one of them's like mix. I thought a military chick.
Yeah, I think that's he's got the military one, the health one.
I would be literally with receipts. Like, what the fuck's this bitch
look at
doing?
Who he's hiring, yeah.
Yeah. Why not specifics though? That's kind of what I felt it was lacking.
I think the reason for that it's like that debate format. It is this weird thing where it's like, even like YouTube debaters now, they're always like on their computers, like being like, okay, I just checked that. You're wrong.
Yeah.
In this format, it is sort of like, you can just say whatever you want. And it's like, if you're Biden, like the CNN's like not tomorrow going to be like, here's a list of things he was wrong. They're just going to say he's right. Mm-hmm. So it's like, he kind of just can say anything.
It really was. It really is like that. It's just
be like, I raised $1 trillion last year.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could,
but that's what it was. It was literally
just say whatever you want.
It was literally this. My border was safer than your border. No. My border was safer than your border.
Yeah, and obviously it's like for people, you're like, well, I have eyes, so I know which borders has less people pouring over.
That's why I felt was lacking. Where I felt when there was something special about 2016 when the debates, even from like Hillary, Bernie Sanders.
Big year for debates, yeah.
Big year for debates.
You thought there was going to be some of the more magic from Austin Powers 1. You got Austin Powers 3.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Definitely a lot of magic lost.
There was a bunch of those where you thought you were getting Rocky in his prime running up the steps. You got Rocky promoting the Sprite can in the Rocky 7.
I remember
you got the Rocky where it's his nephew.
2016 Republican, they had 8 guys up there. It was phenomenal.
Oh, those were pretty funny.
Yeah, those are the best fireworks show you'll ever see.
The Russia-Ukraine, he had a pretty funny one where he basically said that, he goes, every time Zelensky comes over here, he leaves with $60 billion.
That was great.
He's the best salesman in the world.
That was fucking great. Yeah, I guess what
Trump had some zingers.
I guess what happens is, the truth is this, is that most people want it in a 2-minute recap, and they're going to do zingers of the 2 minutes, and that's how you really like.
I have a hard time thinking that anyone that was undecided is watching that debate and being like, yeah, I'm a Biden guy now. Very typical. Because it would I think most of those people at Trump would just have to be like so annoying that they're just like, I just can't do that again.
They just hate him. Like they have to have a dislike for him, like Robert De Niro.
Yeah, and I think some of that's worn off for some of the people that are like normal, and
which is
the spell's worn off. So if you were a person watching that was like somewhat undecided, you could not. I can't imagine anyone being like, I'd vote Biden. I think you would. Yeah, I think you would just have to watch that. And Trump was just like such a loose cannon that you're just like, do I really want to see that loose cannon for 4 years?
The other funny thing was when he said, when they're talking about Crooked, he's like, your son. Hunter.
That was almost like a guarantee that was going to happen. They were going to say, oh, you're a convicted felon. He's like, your son's a convicted felon. And
that was pretty good. That was, yeah.
It's funny watching a bunch of politicians be like, you should be in jail. You should be in jail. You should be in jail.
Well, the other thing that I'm like, whoa, why are we debating? Where he's like, you had sex with a porn star. He's like, I didn't have sex with a porn star.
I didn't get that. I didn't realize that he was saying that never happened. I thought that he kind of said it did happen.
I also,
what did he pay her off for if it didn't happen? What's his argument?
I don't know. I also don't think it's bad.
You were just like, that was cooler when you did.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Russia-Ukraine was that. Border, he's like, the Border Patrol endorsed me. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention. He goes, migrant crime. He goes, I call it Biden migrant crime.
Yeah, that
wasn't. I thought that wasn't the banger that he thought it was.
No, it wasn't a banger, but still funny.
That was a funny moment. Yeah. But that one didn't hit.
No, it wasn't.
He thought he was going to give. He thought he was going to give the crime migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime.
Yeah, it seemed like
that was you with your New Kids on the Block joke.
Yeah, he didn't seem like he was on top of it in terms of the quickness.
I thought honestly Trump was like kind of fine. Like I think he could have done worse. I think if you watched his performance, you're like, he could have done worse. I think that maybe he could have appeared like maybe just a little nicer since you already kind of, just because the people that are swing people, like that's what you're sort of trying to appeal to them on.
They don't want this divide of a country.
Yeah, Biden kept calling him a whiner. that was his big diss drop that he thought.
Yeah.
And then the climate part was funny because that was like classic. That was a bit of old school Trump when he asked about the climate. He goes, "We got the best water, we have the best air,
H2O." He said, "Best H2O, best air." That was great.
Under my administration, the H2O was the best.
The best H2O. He literally, the best H2O is great.
Yeah. So overall, I think that everyone. It seems like most people on the internet are kind of like Biden's a laughing stock, like look at just posting memes of how funny he is and stuff like that.
I do think, though, it is a scary thought to think if Biden becomes president, that probably the most incapable government official is next in line.
It's a guarantee, yeah. It's
Which
not
is
probably.
scary.
It's almost 100%. I think, but that's the plan, obviously.
But that she's like probably legitimately one of the most incapable government officials. Not
she reminds me a lot of someone I know, and they're a very incapable person.
Really?
Yeah.
X?
Definitely no. I'm just not going to say who it is. But there's a person in my life that I actually reminds me so much of.
Scary, right?
You wouldn't hire her for. I'll tell you what. You wouldn't want to hire her to be the janitor here.
Yeah.
So I think that I bet you if you were like working for the Democrat Party or something like that, you'd be kind of watching that being like, God damn, we should have switched out earlier.
Do you think it's going to
I don't know. I don't know why. I think he wouldn't let them. It was just like, he's like, no, I'm going in.
Do you think it's going to be a massive, I mean, from all things going into this, everyone who I, like even watching All In podcasts, they're like, you're most likely going to be president. Like they were taught, all of them agree.
To Trump.
Yeah, to Trump. Do you think it's going to be a fucking shellacking?
Possibly, yeah.
But you never know.
You never know, and I think there's another one, but it definitely seems like that was a shellacking, at least to some degree.
But even the way the people are going to vote.
Another thing they said, because when they're going back, they go, "You're the worst president. You're the worst president. No, you're the worst president." And then he goes, the only reason I'm even here trying to be president is because you're so bad. And the guy goes, "I was only here because you're so bad." Yeah. Is that is grumpier old men, right?
Grumpier old men. It really is.
It's grumpier old men too. Is the sequel?
What was the name? Who did it? Walter Matthau and
Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, Jack Lemmon. It literally is
you're the worst president. No, you're the worst president. No, your board is bad. Yours board is bad. I'm only here because of you. I thought actually you were. I would only here because of you.
Someone posted a Simpsons article. Old man yells at older man, or old man yells at old man. It's real. Get off my lawn. It's so funny.
It was a shit show to watch.
It is a shit show.
But yeah, it really was boring, and especially since they weren't answering questions, they're just saying the same thing over and over again. You're like, after the first half hour, I don't think either of them said a new thing.
No, nothing. They had 3 points.
That should have been 40 minutes. An hour and a half, you're just like...
It is curious. I do wonder with all the like turmoil of what's going on right now with all the different wars. Like, honestly, if China ever... They always say that what will push us over the edge is if China invades Taiwan, because Taiwan's part of NATO, right? Yeah. And so...
I don't know.
But with everything that's going on, if China ever does invade Taiwan, it does seem like...
A third one?
It seems like we're very close.
There's the actual points was Biden just kind of kept saying like it's actually going to be worse if Trump, and you're like, it's pretty bad. Like, it's quite the mess you've created.
But they also said that too in 2016 for 2020. They said right before 2016, if Trump becomes president, it's going to be terrible with Russia. It's going to be terrible with China. And in fact, it wasn't terrible with either of them.
Yeah, that's why he has a pretty good points on this war front.
Yeah. In fact, I was even watching last week the video of Trump going into North Korea, and he says this, and it's kind of true. It's like every other president of the United States wouldn't go to North Korea. Isn't that a bad thing? And you're like, yeah, why wouldn't you have a relationship with one of your biggest enemies?
No, I guess they're just like, they're so bad, we should just ignore them until they start doing nukes or something, and then we can go to war.
You have 6 minutes.
Well, there's a lot of people in that government that can't wait to go to war, right? So they're just like, no, we don't want you to cool it down.
Which is the craziest thing, because they actually believe in their world that they're like protected.
Who?
I think the
politicians.
I think they think they're safe.
They kind of are.
If nukes happen?
Yeah, I think so.
They have like bunkers.
American soil, politicians.
Do you really want to, like, think of you me and you, right? We're two last comedians left. We have the bunker. Would you want to be living in this world where everyone else is annihilated?
Except for the politicians that want it.
No, but except for like a handful of people who survived. It will be chaos. Rogan always talks about it. Post nukes, this world will be chaos.
Yeah,
whoever.
it's not going to be good for me.
Not good for me either. Not good for you, Johnny.
Trying to whittle a fire together.
Yeah,
no thank you.
I'm in big trouble. I actually thought for a second, my power went out. Oh no, not even my power went out. I ordered an Uber Eats a couple months ago, and the guy didn't come, so I had no dinner. And I'm like, I'm not prepared. So I went out and bought like 6 cans of stuff.
I can picture you being like, I have a bunker, and there's just like enough food in there for 6 days because you just couldn't do it right.
Yeah, we're fucked. I'm fucked.
Well, I think that, that was, in general, that was crappy. But what won't be crappy is the episode that we have planned today. But this was breaking news. There's no way we're going to drop an episode on Friday after the big debate that everyone's going to be talking about. So that's why we stayed here all day so we could give the commentary.
Serious political commentary. Serious political commentary. Maybe political commentary that you'll not get from anywhere else.
And now we bring you the episode with Justin Silver. Fellas, I got to tell you about Marek Health. It's time to find out exactly what's wrong with you. You do your blood work, find out if there's anything missing, what you can supplement, what changes you need to make. JJ and Danny actually both recently did theirs, and Danny's already making changes. They've already got him on stuff. So you meet with someone after you do your blood work. Most insurance companies will deny progressive treatments very regularly. Primary care physicians refuse to order comprehensive lab work. And listen, the standards of care lag years behind the leading research. So if you've been following any people that talk about this stuff, I mean, we do sometimes, what most people will tell you and what doctors try to treat symptoms, Marek Health represents a paradigm shift in how we approach medicine, empowering those who want the most out of healthcare and you want to maximize your potential. One of the things I regret is I didn't do this sooner, because if I did, I'd have something to compare it to. But I was able to look, exactly that you do very comprehensive charts, but then you meet with someone and they know exactly, they're able to like analyze it and tell you exactly what you need to change, what you're lacking in, what you have too much of, etc. Even little things that might be affecting your sleep, cortisone, testosterone, all those things. And then you can actually know and make the right changes, whether that be supplements, whether that be to your diet. So Marek Health offers cutting edge diagnostic labs, concierge health coaching, expert clinical oversight, and they support clients in achieving their health and fitness goals by leveraging data-driven lifestyles and nutrition recommendations along with supplement and prescription treatment options. So expedited onboarding they have for those that are interested in working with a Marek Health provider for personalized treatment options ranging from hormone optimization, cognitive enhancement, for hair loss prevention, body recomposition. So that's true. After you meet with them, they actually do tell you, they're just not like, okay, now go fix it. They walk with you so you can actually get the things you need to get based on what comes back from your lab results. The optimization package includes the same elaborate panel I get myself, and with those test results, the Marek Health clinical team optimizes my personal protocol to get the exact same panel and medical oversight. Click the link in the video description or go to marekhealth.com/boyscast and use the code boyscast to save 10% at checkout. And I have to tell you about the best underwear in the game. I'm currently wearing them. I was wearing them all weekend, and you already know. This is Sheath Underwear. People at home listen know we've been talking about Sheath Underwear for years. I replaced my entire catalog of underwear for Sheath Underwear. I just sent a couple more pairs to my dad for Father's Day, actually. Sheath Underwear is the best underwear. It's the only underwear that has the pouch for the balls, which is something that, for me, I have personally really warmed up to. And also, there's kind of 2 pouches, but you don't have to use the pouch. If you don't want to use the pouch, you can also not. It's underwear that is shaped better than normal underwear, so you actually look good while you're wearing it. I'm wearing a pair as we speak. So this is the most comfortable boxer briefs you ever put on your body, and you can buy them in singles. So I would check out this. If you're on the fence, if you haven't tried Sheath yet, go over there, buy 1 pair, and if you like. My guess is you're going to buy the 1 pair and then it's going to change your life and you're going to replace your entire thing. But you can literally buy 1 single pair and see how you feel. And then my guess is that you're never going to go back to the normal underwear. The most unique thing about Sheath Underwear is they have the dual pouches, so your parts are separated. Prevents things from sticking together, especially in the summertime. I know some people might be skeptical, but let me tell you, the pouch is a game changer. Plus, they got a whole bunch of new materials, bamboo and mesh for those that want even more cooling comfort. I'm sure you've heard, like I said, you've heard us talk about this for a long time now. Since I probably moved to New York and I met the owner of this company, we've hung out a bunch of times. I actually did his podcast too. The best underwear in the world. Go to sheathunderwear.com, promo code Boyscast for 20% off. Once again, that is sheathunderwear.com, promo code Boyscast. The Boyscast, JJ Liberman's filling in for Danny Polishuk. Justin Silver here, back from Danny's Hawaii wedding. You know what the actual, by the way, interesting point about Danny is, because you know how you picture you two are both pretty Jewy.
Whoa.
Yeah. And Danny seems like he's Jewish. He's Russian. Like all of the things that you think about Danny, he's Jewish. His parents are immigrants.
Right. So there was a lot of Russians there?
No, because no one came because it was so far away.
I'll tell you who didn't come, this guy.
Yeah, JJ did that. Yeah.
I don't remember getting an invite. I don't remember if I did. I either owe him an apology or I'm angry at him.
He said no one would come. Even like everyone basically.
I wouldn't have, but I wanted an
Especially
invite.
not his girl.
Dude, he's the type of guy that, he would have just been like married and he would just introduce his girlfriend and be like, oh, my wife. And you go, you got married? He goes, yeah.
He's too chill. That's why he doesn't
Right.
seem Jewish. He's like, that's the Russian part.
But I didn't realize. I've always,
Right.
everything about him I thought was Jewish. And then when you finally meet his parents, you're like, well, I've met them before, but like actually spent time with them.
They
They're
talk like this?
Yes, Danny's not Jewish. He's an immigrant. Like all of this stuff, even his parents, like they own like a property or whatever. And I was like, oh, Jewish landlords kind of thing. It's like, no, they own a property the way that like people who immigrate to this country.
with the top of it that's red and it's shaped like this.
Yes.
Like this. Like Russian shit. Like
said-
it looks like a bishop.
I honestly was, and by the way, his parents are both really slim. And his mom was making fat jokes. She goes, Danny, when he's eating, he's happy. She's going in on him, right?
Oh, they go hard. Yeah, they go hard in the paint on the sort. Like they don't like flattery. They don't like. Yeah.
No, they're not about any of that
They
stuff.
look very serious for
Is that
you.
the first time
That's
you
what
met him?
Danny's like. No, we've met them before.
I've never met
You
them.
have actually. They came to a couple shows. In
You know what's so
Toronto, but-
funny is that the
Wasn't even that Jew. He didn't wear the hat or anything.
Oh, I never
I would
wear the yarmulke.
hat.
I'm Jewish. I never wear the yarmulke at like any sort of like a wedding. I never wear it at
Refuse
a funeral.
it.
I'm like I don't even like the headphones on my hair.
Yeah, they didn't
I'm
make him
very
wear the
hairy.
hat.
Oh, that's why? I just hate the
don't
fucking
like-
culture.
I don't like the culture either, which is why I never date Jewish women. I do rep it like hard because I'm like I'm very Jewy. But
You
I'm
are,
like,
yeah.
I've never even made out with a Jewish chick in my life.
Really?
Yeah, no, hot Jewish chicks. You know what? DM me still, but like never have.
There was a
never
couple fucking around to this
Never
thing.
have.
So did you want to tell why Danny couldn't make it because of the weight restrictions on the flight back?
That's what happened. Yeah, they go, well, listen, is there two of you? Can we put you on opposite sides of the flight? And they go, it's just me. We were eating there. Dude, I ate so much food at this wedding, I left looking like him.
Really? Was it amazing food?
It's pretty good food.
Yeah.
They did.
Became Polynesian. You ate that much?
They did. So everyone in the family's like really skinny, and they're like going hard on him. Yeah. And then I did this speech, buried these people. I actually made that joke to Danny. Johnny saw the speech.
This bitch make my little boy fat.
They forced
Don't
me,
lie.
but I
They did force you?
Yes.
Oh, you
definitely.
did do
I was-
the speech.
Yes.
Okay.
I did do a speech, and then I like walked up to Danny right after. I go, follow that.
Heartfelt or funny? Heartfelt or funny, or sort of both?
Probably 90-10.
90-10 funny.
Yeah, more funny. I went jokes. I had a couple pretty good ones. I said, because the thing was like $800, and then they got like a group rate that was $750, and I was like, this entire room full of Jews, and nobody could get a better deal. Like I had a couple of things.
Did you kill?
I was
Did you do any crowd work? Hey, Edna's here, huh? Someone didn't have a white wedding, huh?
I was thinking about that'd be funny for the speech, just do crowd work. Go out and be like, all right, for my speech, I'm going to do some crowd work.
Uncle
like,
Ernest.
No, not even that. Just basic crowd work. What do you do for a living?
Oh my God, that would have been so fucking
That's
funny.
great.
That would have been literally so funny. Him.
I did a couple dad jokes about Danny. I go, Danny's the only guy that works out 7 days a week, and he's still kind of fat. And then I go, what's he doing there? Eating the machine?
People were dying.
It's pretty funny.
You can't eat metal. There's a sarcasm.
everyone's pretty.
Eating the machines is great.
Eating the machines.
And all this making me laugh about the like crowd work in general. Just if you think about one of the obviously comedians don't really like crowd work, but like the thing that was making me laugh is you go, there's people that have favorite comedians that can't name one of their jokes. Like,
Oh,
think
they
about
just
how
use it
wild
as
of a-
crowd work.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like one point I was just thinking. It was like people are like, "Oh, that's my favorite comedian." You go, and then you go name a joke, and they go, "I don't know any jokes. I just know him like asking people what they do for a living."
Right, because that tends to be a lot of shit that we post, so you don't like burn shit out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever said this. You don't know this. The first time I met Danny's wife, I made her cry within 5 minutes.
Okay, I don't know if that's public.
Oh, sorry. Should we edit that?
Wow, you're a lot heavier than Danny mentioned.
Legitimately,
You made Heather cry?
within five.
Should we
Within
edit that
5
out?
minutes of talking
What'd
to
you-
JJ, she
what'd you
started
do?
I
crying.
thought this was a roast. I thought this was a bachelor party roast.
That's the thing, though. I knew how to tread the line. I was on there. The other people know.
JJ
legitimately, the people that went before me was like, legitimately, like 80-year-old guy like reading off a piece of paper,
brutal.
and like no
Yeah,
one can even
uptight.
really hear him.
Wedding
and then I'm
speeches
coming
suck.
on. I'm like, all right. I was like,
Actually, Ryan
They were
hired
giving me
me
the
to
script.
help write it. We were doing a writing session.
Did you really?
No.
what do you think? What do you think?
I love that you made her cry. Subtlety is not your thing.
I'll tell you, I wish I could have done the speech. I was like, hey, remember when I made you cry?
You would have made her cry again, dude, if you were there.
That's great.
In general, like, super fun though.
I
No,
love
Danny
them,
was
though.
very like he was very Russian at the thing, which now I know that he's a Russian. I'm only referring to him
Really?
as a Russian. He was very like.
Did he change
I'm sure
accents?
on the podcast we'll talk about it more when he's back in like a week or whatever, a little bit. But no, he was very like with the speeches. He was like, more speeches. All right, can we just get this moving? Let's get the cake going.
Oh, irritable. Irritable.
Well, just more like it was very like nonchalant to him. He's like that about how he is about everything.
Wouldn't you want it like that, though, if you're getting married? Well, I want it quick. Let's just fucking hang out.
I
and
wouldn't
have
have
fun.
maybe had the balls to do that.
Oh, right.
Like just to be like he's basically telling the rabbi or whatever, like, all right, pal, like
Oh, they brought in a rabbi?
They had a rabbi?
I think a rabbi does the wedding, but they did the glass. One thing they did the glass
stepped on
smashing
the
thing.
glass. That's
I'll tell
cool.
you one thing. Okay, as soon as I got there, apparently the big joke was about me that they were all saying is that like, oh, when am I going to smash a glass or whatever because I always knock stuff over,
Oh,
right?
I thought it was that you're not circumcised.
And then I got there immediately, and then the minute I got there, I gave Heather a hug and then knocked over a drink.
Really?
Probably within 1 second, and it was kind of a whole scene. And then people were having a laugh at my expense. And then
You're a klutz.
yes. And then when the wedding started, the rabbi, he was like, the reason we do this glass smashing thing is because a lot of times people smash glasses, and it's people will say it's a big deal, but actually it's a good thing, and it should bring you joy, and that's why we say Mazel Tov.
So you were
So
clapping?
I was going hard.
I don't think that's in the Torah at all.
That's apparently the glass
I don't think that's
smashing
why we
deal.
do it.
That really? You think this guy was winging it?
I think-
Hawaii rabbi might have just been.
I think let me tell you something. A rabbi in Hawaii he's not like, an A-lister, I don't think.
No.
You know what I mean? They're gonna say
don't have Jews
Florida
there.
first, then New York, and then if you're fucking like if they draft
That's
you in
true.
Hawaii as
Yeah.
a Jew, no. Is there a big Jewish community in Hawaii?
I don't know. Probably not. It's pretty expensive, so maybe there's some of them there.
That's a good point.
Right.
Someone's gotta own those
They're
buildings.
real estate. There's a lot of fat Samoans, though, eh?
Half and half, dude. I'll tell you. I went to a zip lining thing. The guy was a caricature of a human being. Shows up. He's like, "What's up? You guys ready to zip?" Like he was
White guy?
Yes, out of a movie, and he was doing like they had like a comedy routine down. Right. We did a luau thing, which me and Johnny was there. We did the luau, which was sumo all over again because we went to the sumo thing with JJ and we got scammed. We actually mentioned it last week.
Scammed.
So everything that basically is made by like some sort of minority and it's geared towards selling it to white people, that is to scam you. Like basically that's their reparations. Like essentially, like that's them weird thing. They're raping your ears and pillaging your wallet.
Oh, yeah. Because most white people don't have like style or class, so they're so stupid. They're rubes, right? So they see this and they're like, "Let's do the
word.
safari."
Rube.
Definitely
I
on
got it from him.
vacation.
He told
word.
me about Rube when we
Good
went
word.
out for a fancy dinner
I'm
once.
taking it. I'm using it tonight.
We went out for a fancy dinner once, me, him, and Danny. He goes, "Look at you, Rubes, getting suckered." It was like
Rube.
one of the best meals I've ever had.
JJ is a sucker for sure, but he'll talk to the manager and get his money back. But this was like a luau. It was
true.
like $300 a pop, and then you go up. The guy was literally standing there, and he described for 20 minutes. He described how coconuts work. Legitimately,
Man. 2 weeks in a row, you guys got scammed.
It was sumo all over again, dude. The guy's cracking a coconut, and he was just like, and sometimes they come down from the tree, and then you take the milk, and then sometimes you crack it open, and then if everyone's like, oh, a coconut.
Can make a bra out of these. I have a question. You were in Hawaii at a luau, Jewish situation. No pork?
No, it wasn't Jewish like that.
But pork.
I'm telling you, the Russian influence was strong.
Russians don't
just
care.
Whatever normal things. I don't think it had like.
Did they do a big pig at the
normal
wedding
food.
and not Danny? Did they?
Yeah, obviously, he was the groom.
Danny, they put Danny on the spit roast.
Came out with an apple in his mouth. Did you wear out? He goes, just kidding, boys.
Did you wear a suit?
Obviously, yeah. It was,
I don't know.
It looked like everyone was wearing
the Hawaiian
shirt
shirt thing. That's what I was going to
Not at the actual thing. There was but there's a lot of events. The main event that me and Danny went golfing.
You met my guy Bill?
And Johnny, what?
Bill, Big Bill.
Oh, Bill's the man, yeah.
He's the man.
The Coke guy.
Yeah.
No.
Sounds like that was something you would do in Hawaii.
It was a lot of partying though, eh? It was great.
Yeah, fun. And then, but I came back, and then, we saw this on the thing. And Justin, you're an actual New Yorker. There's at 1st and 14th, right outside my old house, but still kind of near my new house, a proper stabbing.
Yes.
It's people always talking about New York going to shit. It was this was that area. I've been talking on this podcast about how it's the craziest area in New York. And then it was such a crazy stabbing that there was blood caked all over the sidewalk.
When I was a kid, my mom lived in Queens. My dad lived on 14th Street and 3rd Avenue.
Rough,
and I remember, and this is 80s, right?
Yeah.
I'm 76, I'm born. And I remember 14th Street always been the Lower East Side was always it was disgusting and heroin, right?
An alphabet,
and then
right?
Yeah, definitely. The Lower East Side and then down. But 14th Street was it was a fucking war. I remember my dad. I would come into the city, and when you lived in that apartment, I was just dude, this is there's all the remnants of it have not changed. All the guys selling the clothes outside. There's this 14th Street. His legend. It's like a zombie land. It's always been. It's always been The Walking Dead. Always.
And apparently, I was looking at what the politicians in New York were saying about it, and some of the ones that were actually trying to clean it up.
Well, the 14th Street.
Apparently, one of the things that they're saying. I mean, obviously, it started to get bad in the defund the police area, where the police were just yeah, go set up your camps. We won't do anything, right?
Yeah.
The police were just and then people would call the cops, and they'd be go. I thought you didn't want us.
Yeah.
So they just stopped doing anything, right? But it was the markets. Apparently, they were one of the things that they were because. They were sort of saying we need to crack down on people doing these unlicensed vendors. That's the word I was looking for.
Sure.
So basically what happens is these guys start selling on the sidewalk, and normally they kind of shut it down, but then people say oh, that's mean to shut it down. You can't shut it down. But when they start these vendors, then it grows, and then lo and behold, every day
it's
there's
Calcutta. It turns to Calcutta.
Yeah,
That's basically what it is. It's the fucking Silk Road.
Yeah.
Dude, between that and the bicycles in this, I'm what the fuck? I biked over here. I'm once you hit the 30s, you're this is an insane asylum.
Well, because once you hit the 30s, that's where all the migrant hotels are.
Is that what it is?
Yes. They're right down the street from here, Roosevelt, right?
Is that what happened?
Yeah. There's thousands.
JJ, show everybody how you draw that swastika.
There's thousands. There's 40,000 migrants in New York. They have numbers from 1 to 40,000, and they just wait around all day.
I've never actually seen it in my own two eyes.
Watch the documentaries. It's insane.
Maybe I'm not bopping around that much, but I'm telling you, this area outside my old place was mayhem, and it hasn't gotten worse either. I drove by it, and there's blood. There's legitimately blood on the streets.
Crazy person, not like a.
They rained blood upon the streets.
Yeah, it's
pretty badass. Not like a stabbing this guy owed me money. Crazy person, just
crazy
with a
person
shank.
Stabbing. Yes.
Crazy person with a shank. Type
with a machete.
Yeah, with a machete.
Yes.
I did not know that.
I don't know if that was the weapon, but the way the blood is, I saw the images. It's disgusting. It's crazy. And also, when you leave the cellar, because you're always Ubering, do you ever go up on 6th?
Sure, but I hate it over there for this reason.
Yes, for that reason, I don't go up there anymore. When you turn the corner from out of the cellar going up onto 6th Street, there's an area outside of the subway. There's guys just selling legit smack.
Yeah, that's been never going on forever.
But dude, it's rough. This is
How is it?
How rough?
How's the smack?
Oh, I don't know. I don't do hard drugs.
You didn't try it.
No, I like weed.
Anyways, it's a shit show over here. That's the moral. But
It is a shit
we
show.
actually were going to talk about this one thing after, but it kind of reminded me. So when I was on the plane, I was going to watch one movie, and then if you look at the things, it was every second movie that the plane was feeding me was like a gay sex line.
No.
Legitimately.
What an airline.
And then they had their own Pride section, and then this, but it was like, there's probably 10 movies available, and 8 of them, there was like 2 guys fucking like smooching on the cover.
That's okay. But
Good bodies. Good bodies.
They were pushing.
They're always
You know what?
in
You
shape.
know what's
They're in
funny
great
you
shape.
said that because I was just like, this shit's too gay. And then I watched the bodybuilding documentary, which is just
I love
guys
them.
in some
Dude,
speedos.
I watch so
I
much
was like,
bodybuilding
all right.
shit. If you
love
look
it.
at my Instagram feed, I swear to God, it's like, dude, someone look at it, they're like, it's all it is jacked fucking dudes. They're like, well, I'm like, I don't need fucking chicks in here infecting my day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm
I
like,
do actually know what you mean. Yeah.
Like if there's a super hot chick at the gym, I'm like, this workout's gonna suck
Bums you
because I'm
out.
too distracted. And then I start going in my head, I'm like, why aren't I
Jack
with
dude
her?
pumps you
I don't know,
up.
someone's tired of fucking her. I would feel that way anyway.
You
I
talk
just start
yourself out
going.
of it?
I start going.
what's the epic documentary they redid about the bodybuilders? The biggest one. They did one in
Pumping Iron?
Pumping Iron, and then they did one with that guy with the crazy blue eyes.
Generation Iron?
Yeah, something like that. And then the guy who just died a couple years
Oh,
ago.
Phil Heath with the blue eyes.
That's the one I watched, Phil Heath.
Yeah, which one?
Six-time Mr. Olympian.
Yeah.
No, who's the guy who just died who was like massively jacked?
Rich Piana.
Rich Piana.
Well, you really know this.
He was
stuff.
taking all the synthol. So, like, he had this, like, people say
What was that documentary? Generation Iron?
So, the guy who has Generation Iron, like Vlad something, he's made like 10 of these things. None of them are actually like that good. If you're just interested in that topic, it's like like you learn a lot about that topic, but the documentaries themselves don't have much of like a fucking narrative at all.
This one did. The
But-
whole thing was like I mean, you're right.
Is this
but-
like him versus Kai Green? Like that
No,
one?
they sort of.
that was good.
They
Yeah.
force a narrative, but the narrative was he had some like stomach problem and he had to drop out for a year, and then he was fighting back from that.
Aw.
But there was no good movies?
My point was there was just like they were really, really going hard on like pushing the gay movies.
So this was what we were arguing about.
Well, it's kind of weird though because you're on like a plane and you're just like everyone can see.
And now
the
you're
screens.
fucking horny.
and you look around. There's 19 guys watching gay sex.
Like, bro, you want to go to the bathroom?
Well, it does. I would not want to be like just a man sitting there on a plane, like watching gay sex out in the open.
And people are just walking by the aisle. Sir, Coke?
That's what they want. A full plane of guys watching gay porno. Always a normal sex scene is strange though when you're on the plane and you're just like sex.
It is.
You see a guy in front of you, you're just like just glued to the screen.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, can you get in trouble? Like, there's people just fucking raw. I'm hard.
Can they
and they're
show
like,
tits on the plane on,
Yes,
on
yes.
the movie?
Yes, they do.
can show
Yeah,
art.
yeah,
They
do.
can.
And they'll give even warnings now. They'll say, hey, this is, or something like, I feel like it's like.
Yeah, but the problem is everyone can see your screen, especially when it's a
and
night
everyone
thing.
can hear you moaning.
What's the plane where you can talk to the other passengers? Like, I think it's like on JetBlue where it's like, oh no, a Virgin where
Stephen
it's like
Hawking
if
plane?
you have a friend, if you have a friend who's sitting in another aisle, you can like message that person.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Are you watching this fucking movie right now?
Well, no, I wanted to ask you about the bodybuilding thing, though.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I've watched like 2 or 3 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, they have the guys on the stage. They all look exactly the same.
That's what I was thinking.
And then
Exactly the same.
And then they go on the thing, they show the announcer, and then they go, he came out this year, and he was just miles above everyone. He destroyed them. It was like, it was no question. No one was even in his league, and you're looking at them, you're like, there is zero difference.
Yeah.
Like,
the black
I
guy's
bet-
just darker.
It's like, yeah, it's, you know what it is? It's like, I always think about that. I'm like, you're like, it's
What are they
like,
better
I
at?
get, it's like any sort of thing that like when you're at the upper echelon of things, the differences are so fucking small. But I always notice that thing, and it's like this guy's symmetry. They're looking with such a fucking magnifying glass at this shit. It's like the slightest thing. It's like he's
But they're
flatter,
not
how
saying
much
it like
water.
that. They're just like, oh,
Because they're
this
not
guy,
describing-
they go, this guy wasn't even in his league, and you're like, they look literally
Yeah.
identical.
Yeah, but the crazy thing about bodybuilding, you're like, this isn't really like a sport where you're like achieving this. Like, you didn't get the goal in the end zone, and like a lot. This is like your body's just shaped this way, and here's your genetic. Like it's like more of like a weird like kind of like homoerotic art form than it is anything.
It is, but
It
it
is.
is,
It kind of
yeah.
is. It's like, and they're always like, it's pretty wild. Like how, like I've known.
I guess
a
you
bunch
could
of-
say it's like figure skating, but it is, again, though, if you watch things like that or ballet, it's like the person is better, the other person fell. or this
There's
person
actually,
missed.
if you look at a guy like Kai Green, like he does these posing routines where it's like the guy's like
Yes, the hair, right?
Yeah, but he could do like the way he moves is almost like a mix between a break dancer and a ballerina. Like
that's what it should be.
Right. His like the way he presents this thing, you're like, that's fucking awesome. But everybody else, I'm just like, the difference between this and that, I'm like they're like the peak of the bicep. You killed him in the biceps. I'm like, I don't get like
You
to
can't
me
tell
this is
either.
just like I can't tell.
Well, and the reason is I'm calling phony on the whole thing. I think they're lying.
You think they're lying about what?
The judges, when it was like they're like, we unanimously scored like that Phil Heath was so much better than these people, and it was like they must have just decided that he wanted to win. Like there's no way that.
No, I think they legitimately like they set these categories and these things, and they got it down to a gnat's. It's such a niche fucking insular
It's so niche, that's
thing.
why there's no money.
It's such a niche insular thing that it's sort of like all the money I think is like in like people's social media and then like repping products to basically be like, yeah, if you take this, you're gonna look like me type of shit. It's like that's where all the real money is in the sponsorship type of shit. But I don't think it's like that guy Rich Piana, for example. Like he never won anything, and you're like,
he sold stuff.
He sold a ton of shit. Like he did everything on his own social media on his own. I just find it so interesting because number one, I like working out and I like freak of nature. I'm like, that's fucking insane.
I do like the freaks of nature.
I like it, but like when I see, you're like, this is such a niche. It's a weird world. It's weird.
So the chick who I first started when I started banging women, the first chick was a bodybuilder. Her name was.
You would be dating a bodybuilder.
You see her. She died a couple years ago of cancer. Rondalee Quasardra.
Fake tits or real?
Huge fake tits, and that's who I first titty fucked. I was like, for 2 years, I was really into the idea of titty fucking.
Did she hold you up while you were doing it?
No,
like
I did.
So you found a girl that most looked like a man.
Yeah, mostly looked like a man. Great body, great
smart,
tits.
smart.
Yeah, smarter like a man.
Yeah,
but and so I would titty fuck her, and she didn't make enough. But she was a professional bodybuilder. But there was no money. As little money as there is for men, there's even less for women.
Yeah, a lot less.
Oh,
So-
yeah, I bet.
Yeah, so
Who the
I
hell
would.
wants to watch that?
Did you see that documentary? I think it's called like Killer Kathy, about the chick who she.
Insane documentary.
So they basically like they do these things where it's like, you know this. There's like these guys who like they want to cuck out. So they have these like they wrestle these women body. Yeah, they wrestle these women body. They put them in like it's like these businessmen are all dorks and like she'll like headlock them and like put her thighs around them and like and they basically want to cuck. It's called schmoing. There's a word for it. No, there's a word for it. It's called schmoing out. It's guys who are like you're a schmo, dude. You're into
you're
like
a
a guy.
schmo.
guys who getting choked or nothing.
No.
Bald schmo.
It's guys who like fucking like horn out on like muscle chicks.
No,
so you
I
can like
just wanted
pay them
big
to like
tits.
jerk off and like feel their bodies.
That's kind of hot.
It's hilarious. Schmoing out. We used to have a category.
That is true. You're a schmo, dude.
I'm a
You're a
schmo.
schmo. It's
I'm a
such a
schmo
great
and
word. It's such a great word for it.
I'm a
And they
schmo,
call
a
it-
rube.
And if you're into like female bodybuilding magazines or like you got any, they call it like schmo literature. You got
Really?
Yeah. You got any like schmo, you got any schmo material?
She ended up killing the guy, right? She came in
Killer,
with
Killer Sally is what it was.
yeah,
Killer
she
Sally.
came in with a shotgun or something and blew his brains out.
Yeah, he was like beating the shit out of her though. So
They were both.
great documentary.
Can
to
you
watch.
imagine a couple, male and female, or two gay guys? This gay guys fuck the shit out of each other. Not, I mean, physically, because when they're juiced to the gills,
Yes.
like those big jack gay dudes.
That's a hilarious image.
Yeah, and they just fight, but they also talk like they're feminine.
Fellas, I got to take a break so I can tell you about FitBod. It's the time for the summer body. It's the time to get in shape. Whether you're a seasoned gym goer, whether you're just starting your fitness journey, you know, the essential your workout really needs is FitBod. Sometimes it's a little expensive to get a personal trainer. I personally don't even like a personal trainer because I don't like being at the gym with another guy, especially a stranger. It's just not for me. So FitBod is the fitness app that customizes each workout based on your goals and adapts them as you improve. You type in whatever's at your gym and it keeps track of everything, tells you exercises you would never think before, and also just keeps it interesting so you're not doing the same thing, and keeps track of everything on your phone. So FitBod is something that I've been using since probably about 2 years ago when I started realizing that I was putting on a little weight as I got older and decided to get back into shape. So now I've been working out 3 times a week. I've been using FitBod the entire time, and it has been game changer, and it does keep it interesting. What it does is it creates a personal workout routine for you. It adapts to your growth. FitBod tracks your muscle recovery. Also fine-tuned by experienced certified personal trainers, And it depends on your goal. So you can kind of you could kind of create your own personal workout plan based on what you're actually trying to accomplish, which is different things for different people. You learn new movements the right way because they got over 1,000 demonstration videos. Listen, it's like a personal trainer, but better. It's cheaper and easier to build a custom fitness plan that works for you. So add Fitbod to your workout essentials. Join Fitbod today and get your personalized workout plan. Get 25% off your subscription or try the app free at fitbod.me/boyscast. That is fitbod.me/boyscast. Oh, that is bizarre.
Jack dudes who fight and then like, it was you.
Buddy, you go to
You
like
think with all that tea that they have, they would lose the accent.
No.
Then you know it's
would think
really
that.
fake because
You
a
would-
lot of the gay guys, you're like, okay, you probably done stuff to like lower your tea to the point where you're like, I can see why you're so like talking a little lazy like that because you don't have any energy. But but the guys that are like juiced up, like you know what I mean, going to the gym 5 times a day.
Yeah.
It's like you're that accent for sure fake.
It's all put on.
Sure.
There's no way.
Tell us, JJ.
There's no way.
I can see though if you get like feminine enough.
Sure, but culturally, you're doing it culturally. It's like if you move around other people and you start picking up their accents, you're just doing that.
I say A when I hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
Dude, I was thinking about that because people always like give black guys shit about code switching. Like I don't know if you saw like Will Smith recently.
Oh yeah.
Like he's the ultimate
He's
of that.
bilingual.
But
He's
he'll be on
bilingual.
like he did a tour recently. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
He did a tour recently and it's like you'll see him like talking to like white people and he'll be like, "What's up?" And then like a black guy will be like, "My brother." Like he turns it right on, right?
Code switching is such a great term.
And I know guys who do that
Rube,
for sure.
code switch it. We got a fucking
But
vocabulary.
people sort of give them shit about it, but you're like, I kind of get it because you're like, it's fun to do to put on the accent.
Mm-hmm.
Like I definitely, you don't see it as much with other things. Like when I go back to Canada, I'm not like, oh, there they are, boys.
you
like,
don't turn far.
I
guy.
might
But if you
turn
get
it on
drunk,
a little.
if you get drunk and you're up at like if you're doing a cottage country festival
Yes.
and you're drunk, of course there's going to be a lot of
Yes.
fucking A's.
buddies, yeah.
But you know,
buddy.
but we have like friends like Chris, for example, like dudes who are so New York, they've been around black guys like their whole lives. Like I bet, like I switch when I'm like with all my black friends. I switch out a little bit.
do
Like,
you
it
turn
just-
a bit thug?
I don't turn thug, but I definitely like you hear my shit come out like this. But it's just because
You
it's
have
like
you have like a I forget the word, like a
Ebonic,
no, like a something.
low credit.
A good alibi because you're from New York.
Yes.
Yeah,
so a
it's
lot
a
of people
different
like
thing.
that, they go, "Oh, you're talking black." You go, "No, I'm talking New York."
Yeah, yeah,
New York
yeah.
is a thing.
Yeah, of course.
It is a twang.
But yeah, I can see why you'd want to turn it up when like everyone's. If I was at the cottage country with a bunch of like country boys from like small towns in Toronto, I'd be like, "Oh, buddy's getting ripped, eh?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they get shit on it, but I kind of see it why you would. want
So
to.
people are
It's like
going
a-
after Will Smith?
It's like
Right, and no one's really going after him. He's just the king of. I'm just saying. I notice it. He's the king of people. Black guys get like shit on for code switching. a
People
little
said
bit.
that movie was great too. His new Bad Boys.
Yeah, that was I was maybe gonna see on the plane, but it was
Really?
too long.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't looking for a 3-hour fucking.
I
thing.
thought you said you were going to raw dog it.
Obviously, I'm not raw dog.
what I heard on
I
that one.
posted a photo that said I was gonna go on the plane. Like it was a trend. I
You
said
know the raw dogging?
said I was gonna go on the plane, no headphones, no no TV, no nothing.
You
You
just
thoughts?
You just
You're
sta-
crazy.
You stare at the flight map for 8 hours.
Yeah, it's a trend right now. Guys are talking
If
about
you, it's like if you do have the balls to stare at the flight map for the full 8 hours.
Just
I've
like
definitely had it like against my will lots of times.
I've had it against my will. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I end up putting my head on like the desk, like trying to sleep.
Oh,
I'm like,
brutal.
yeah, I want to get like a Switch. Like, just I don't even play video games. Like, long flights. I'm like, I get so irritable.
I usually just think.
You
But
think? You just think?
I'm kind of raw dogging it, and
Started reading
in a
a
weird
book.
way because a lot of times I think of stand up. So like if you look at me, I'm just I'm just doing this,
Like you're watching gay porn. Just like
but in my head I'm just like, oh, that's kind
I
of
actually
funny.
do write on the plane.
Writing on the plane's good.
Writing on the plane, it's because of the buzz of the engine. So you have this like kind of binaural beats.
I don't think
thing.
the buzz of the engine's doing anything for me.
Maybe it's not doing anything for me.
I feel like you think the buzz. You think a buzz helps?
Well, you've seen
You're
my
thinking?
act. So, so no.
Okay, so the creator of Star Wars, on the topic of gay shows, creator of Star Wars, they basically they keep coming out and being like it's gayer and gayer, and they did it recently.
Well, she went viral first a few years ago,
But
right?
yes, people have been mad because they've been sort of wrecking the Star Wars franchise, but then creator of Star Wars said this one's the gayest ever. But it's funny because then they're sort of coming out and being like, people are saying like, oh, you're trying to like, you're going so hard on the progressive stuff, but then basically the creator goes, no, it's not that gay. It's not actually like some super progressive show. It just has lesbian space switches.
That's the best 3 words ever put together, by the way. I texted him, I'm like, this is a great, those 3 words put together, one of us has to use that. Lesbian space switches.
And then so they basically created a world where it's like, they're like, and then she's like, yo, obviously they're all going to be gay. It's like, there's only girls there. Well, so basically it's like, well, yeah, but obviously you did it on purpose. It's kind of like doing a show where you're just like every girl's like a gold digger, and you're like, no, just you have to understand in this world everyone's gold digger, so it is not my perspective.
It is funny now how, especially us, because maybe we're in the side of the arts, how many women claim to be some kind of bisexual or something, yet they don't ever fucking eat muffin.
They don't do a lot of it.
They don't do a lot of it. Let me tell you something.
I think you're right.
I ain't that gay, but I fucking do a lot of it.
That's what I say.
I think you're pretty gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Well, you were arguing that I was more straight than gay.
I know. In reality, you know what? You suckered me into talking about your sexuality again, which I don't love. This is the oldest trick in the book. No matter what you're talking about, it can come back to JJ blowing a dude.
Do you eat box, JJ?
I actually, only if it's like, it has to be a sexy, like some guys will eat like disgusting chick box.
I don't think by choice, but go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, but they still will. You have to be like an Adonis.
An Adonis.
Yeah, an Adonis chick, and I know you're getting some good dick
How
from
do you
hot
keep
guys.
them off of you, buddy?
Who, me? Yeah. Come on, look at this.
I think he's like the bisexual chick where it's more part of his identity, but he doesn't actually do too much of it because they're not really beating down his door, you know what I'm saying?
Not a lot.
So I think he's more like hypothetically
The
gay.
dudes, though? The dudes?
Like he's
beating it
gay. I don't know if he does something with the guys. He's a gay
I did bring
human.
some little twink to a show
Yeah.
last week. Some 21-year-old.
Allegedly.
No, it was at Brooklyn.
No, but
People
JJ,
saw-
you have to think, the thing he does though, he brings these like, he'll meet a guy and then bring him to the show and then like go for like brunch with him.
Ooh, great night.
Okay, but if you were a guy that was like actually, if you were smashing a ton on tour, would you be going to have brunch with them exclusively, and then you come back to the show and you're like, where are they? It's like, oh, we just did brunch. It was like, for what?
Are you smashing?
He likes companionship.
That's what I'm saying though. That's the gay part, but he's not. I don't know if he's actually banging it.
I'm curious about the witches.
It's like the lesbian girls that you're like, yeah, you're annoying, but are you actually having sex with women?
Yeah,
Right.
But do you when you go on the road, because you are very good looking, do you just fuck?
No,
on the road?
like rarely.
What do you do?
I haven't done that in like forever. I've been like beyond asexual in the past like 2 years. I could give a shit. I could
so
like
maybe
give a
you're
shit.
a lesbian switch.
I could give a shit. I just could like.
You're a Star Wars character.
I couldn't care. I like my sex drive has got like it finally like went down. I'm like, oh, there's like space to think now. This is great.
I
dream.
It is the dream.
God.
It is the dream.
It's so much better.
I wish I could. In the last couple of years, more and more into like reading and doing stuff, watching documentaries.
Yeah, get a little something done.
Life is good.
Learn to sew.
Yeah. But yeah, so what about
Well,
these,
anyways,
these
well, the
bitches?
show's obviously like a piece of shit, and the Rotten Tomatoes is 85%. My brother actually
Stinks.
messaged me, and he said the X-Men one they went hard to. He said they put Gambit in a tube top. He said that was enough for him.
Which brother? The straight one.
He says, straight one. He goes, Evan. He goes, they don't even normally know. He goes, I don't notice this stuff, but he's like, I finally saw one where I was just like, what the fuck?
Could you imagine if your gay brother said, it's enough? It's enough.
Well, I told you, FBI. I thought this is what I thought about all this stuff. I was sort of, because I watched the show FBI, and I was actually giving a pretty hard recommendation on it. I was saying it's good, and they do all this stuff pretty good. And but I started at like 2014, 15, and I didn't realize 2020's every show you're watching gets insane. So it's like Hondo is like the main guy, and he was like kind of like, the best way to like have better race relations is to like be in the communities. He's saying like normal stuff like that, and then like it switches to like 2020, 21, they have him getting pulled over by another cop because he's black, and he comes over and he trashes his hotel room and he goes, "When will racism stop?" And it was like he was
Does he look at the camera and wink?
Yeah, it was,
it's like that on the.
And I think, and then I look when it happened. You're like, it was the week after George Floyd died. It's like every show just like fired the whole cast, brought in a bunch of bisexuals, and then they have another thing. They have a main plot line. The girl's in a polyamorous relationship. The main, like, she's dating like a full ass couple, and you're just like, all of the things are just ridiculous. And you look at the year and you're like, yeah, it was like week after George Floyd. You're just like, you got to skip those years of TV.
So that's what's the opposite. I just started watching Fargo season 5, the first episode. Amazing. And there's a scene where the daughter's wearing like a tie, and the rich mother, just like is like disgusted from the daughter wearing the tie. The grandmother's like, "You idiot progressives," and it's like, "Oh,
They're
is
going
good."
that way.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the other one. David Rubin has a new cartoon. You don't do a cartoon. You do not want to watch that. Dude, I literally watched. It was on Twitter. I watched this thing. I was about to donate to Biden. I saw this thing. I got. I'm going to send $1,000 to Joe Biden after seeing this thing.
You might have said it first. They had a couple years.
They have Larry Elder as a voice. You know, he's always a bucket of laughs.
They had a couple years where they were hidden under Trump, where they were cool, and then now they're exposed.
That's how you thought David Rubin was cool? That's how you saw it?
There was like a year where like he was like in the mix of like, yo, and then he just leans. They're all a branch of what's the Jew? Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro.
Oh, they're all eye-rolling losers.
This would be like if Nancy Pelosi had a comedy show.
Yeah, their parents. Parents, could you imagine if your parents came out with a show? That's what they do now.
Hey, did you see that girls have to sign up for the draft now?
Have to?
That's what it says.
What do you mean have to?
For the draft.
The girls couldn't get drafted.
Right.
And now they have this new bill. I don't know if it's going to go through, but it's like looking like it will. And basically women are going to have to like sign up for the draft if there's a war. But they actually did it.
You guys wanted it.
Yes, well, exactly.
Here you go.
Oh my God. People be laughing at
Also, they had another one in Israel. The Orthodox Jews had their like scam where they didn't have to do it because they were like too religious, and then their scams getting shut down too, and they're gonna have to join the IDF now.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people's scams of not having to go to war is running out.
Who would win in a war? So Ukraine's conscripting men with Down syndrome, or America with women?
Well, here's the thing. They're going to use them to, like, if they think there's a minefield, they're going to be like, no, go walk that
Women
way.
or
the way
Down
they used to do with dogs.
Or both.
That's what they do. They used to send the war dogs out to see if they get
Really?
blown up first. Yeah.
So they're doing that with the Downies or the women?
Downies is nuts.
You weren't going to invent anything.
That's rough though. If you were in like the opposing team and you just saw like a Downs army coming towards you, that's trouble, man.
But they do have the strength.
I honestly think I'd take my own pistol in my mouth. I'd be like, you know what?
Like in Mad Max when they take that guy's helmet. No, he has the brain of a child.
You would think
the strength.
They're running at you like they got zombies.
Oh, speaking of TV shows, I actually talked about this on the show. Because I watched the program, and the one thing that I was saying but Justin went to the school.
Yeah. Well, I went to one of them. Like there was
Which
like
school?
there was a bunch of them.
Of what?
There's this whole Netflix documentary. I'll just do like a small little introduction of this thing.
You brought this up. I saw it in your story.
Yeah, I was talking about it because everybody started DMing me like, "Didn't you go to this school?" And I was like, "I didn't go to that one."
Can you
there's
go
like a bunch
recap
of
it because I forget the whole thing?
Basically, they have a whole empire of these schools that they like are behavioral schools. There's like no evidence that they work. They basically tortured all the kids. All these people committed suicide, and they're still going. And
I'm still here.
They're like tapped into the.
Are they still
all
going?
this
I didn't know
funding.
that.
Basically, a lot of them they convince. Yes, a lot of people they convince the parents that like your son needs to go to this behavioral school, and then you can get grants from the city to pay for it. So like they've got the scam of the year. And then these girls made a documentary because in that school specifically, basically the dudes of the school tried to do a jailbreak and stuff like that.
We broke out. I mean, I'll
Okay,
where was it?
New
York?
And then the girls made a documentary. So which one did you go to?
I went to this one called the DeSisto school. You can look at this up. It the amount of illegal activity in child. I went because I stopped going to school. Like I was just like, fuck this. I went to our school.
So you were like a New York bad boy.
like a New York bad kid.
Bad boy.
And then they kind of the way they sell it, like, you know, they do the classic thing where you're like, here's the main dorm and it looks beautiful and it's in this mansion, and then they're like, but that's not where you actually go. You're doing manual labor nonstop. They have this
What kind of stuff?
like you're chopping wood, you're like just any kind of manual labor that the
Sucking
school
teachers'
needs,
dicks.
but like there's a huge contingent of like pedophile teachers
Oh,
there.
yeah.
There's a huge contingent
Did
of that.
anyone try to make a pass on you?
Not on me, but like plenty of friends of mine. But and then
Did that
there's
bum
so
you
much
out
that did bother me. But there's like the thing they do. They have this punishment system where the way they do it is like when you're on this certain dorm, you're not allowed to space. I'll give you like 3 examples of this. You're not allowed to space like arm's distance from another 3 kids in your dorm at any time. So that's impossible.
You can't be close, meaning.
No, you can't be far apart enough that you can't. I couldn't be far
You
enough
have
for
to
you.
be close enough.
Close enough. So if you do that, they do something called handheld, which means now the whole dorm. Let's say you're going up to the dining hall. Like 14 boys are holding hands.
Oh, weird.
Then, if someone breaks that, they call it amoeba'd, where you hold hands in a circle. So imagine like now you're going to the dining hall. Then when you have to get up and go get your food, you have to go with like, you can't go by yourself. So 3 guys have to hold hands to go get the food, come back, hold hands
You're like,
again.
what, 15?
15. They would have things where I got caught sneaking out to like make out with my girlfriend.
I thought the girls were segregated. Oh, your New York girlfriend.
No. My girlfriend at the school. Like it's co-ed.
Okay.
So they had
The one I watched wasn't.
So yeah, that one's not. This one was. So they had this thing where there was this place called, it would be your farmed, which was basically this apartment on this like, it used to be a farm where you would do manual labor on this farm, but there was no farm anymore. So all you do is chop wood. So for a month, me and her had to live in this apartment together with 2 dorm parents. You're not allowed to make eye contact.
Wow.
You're not allowed to talk to that person, and you'd have to speak. So we'd be cooking and be like, "Can someone ask Carrie to please pass me the
Stop
spatula?"
it.
For a month. You could be like, if they think you're a runaway threat, they would like robe you, which means like you're wearing a robe 24 hours. We ran away in robes, like when we actually ran away.
Why?
But,
What
like,
is the robe supposed to help with?
so like because it's in the Berkshires, so like you're not going to run away
Where's the
with no
Berkshires?
in Massachusetts.
Oh, so it's forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's in the
that's
middle-
that's what I watched. They have them in Utah. They still have these things.
Yeah,
they're tapped
There's
in Utah.
In mine, there's like you could get away. There were no bars on the windows. So this is interesting. You see this tattoo? It says OTR. It says OTR. You see this?
Yeah.
So it means on the run or on the road, because there's every morning they have like faculty meetings. And there's a board that says OTR, which means all the kids that are currently like on the road. So we all ran away. Like there's like a level system. So the way to like, if you want to run away, the way to do it is like you gain enough trust where like there's a week where the kids run the school, and then you get vacations. And if you apply for if you are sort of like leveled up enough to get a vacation, then you plan the runaway. That like you're basically just like trying to like manipulate the system. So like 30 of us ran away, and like actually like last year we all got together.
Where did you
again.
run to?
So this was like this is crazy, dude. So we ran away. There was right at like after the summer, all the new kids come in. Right, so we were like leveled up. We were like at the highest level. So let's say it's like a tier system. It was like the words for it, but let's say you're like a level 3, right? So then when the new kids come in and the teachers take vacations, a lot of the students run the school. So we ran away while we were running the school, and then we come back, and then like you're robed, you're watched, you're cornered, which means you have to face a corner, like pretty much except for meals. You're silenced.
You have to sit in a corner all day?
You have to sit in a corner all day, like just face the corner.
Didn't you tell your parents? Like,
so the craziest thing about it is, and this is how it sort of works. They have their manipulation system. You have to remember, when I went, this is like pre-cell phone.
Yeah.
So they read all your mail, they monitor your conversations, and your parents only send their kids to a place like this if they're like desperate. So the way that they convince your parents to do this is the parents of the students who are quote unquote doing well there, like most of those students are doing exactly what I just said, where they're just trying to game the system to, you know what I mean? They have parent meetings. So whatever group you're in, like there's the New York group, there's the LA group. So the parents all have like conversations, and so many of those parents are brainwashed that they're like, when your kid wants to get out and tells you this is terrible, just stay with it. It's it's almost like if someone did like forced AA or something like that. But it's like, it's so punitive.
Don't believe you. Yeah.
They don't believe you.
well, how much do they pay for a student to go?
$80,000 a
So
year, and this is this is like I'm 48.
So you have to think of it like this too.
They're making a ton of money.
So it's like Army recruiters. So Army recruiters are not actually like they're army guys, but they're considered some of the best salesmen. Guys. And same with like, so if you have the school that everyone's paying $80,000 a year, the people who are communicating with the parents are probably savants. They'll like probably have this.
You know what? It's not. They're all just so. They all like buy into this system. It's very. It's very, very cultish. It was led by this like very feminine like dude who used to weigh like 300 pounds. Then he lost all this weight based on like OA, which is like Overeaters Anonymous, and then like it's like this forced, almost like forced, a mix between like abusive 12-step program. It's hilarious, dude. But it's like it was so fucking weird, and it gets so like how fucking micro it gets in terms of the punishment systems. It's like my friend Drew, who's a famous tattoo artist now. He ran away and he got like a little tattoo like on his like thumb here, right? Like that he did with like a needle and ink. They cut it out.
No,
they had like one of the dorm parents like literally like they cut it out and sewed it up. I have when everyone was asking me about that, like when that documentary came out, I said, Drew, send me a picture of that scar send me the picture of the scar on your arm, and it's like on your hand. It's like you can't, it's
so when you run away, where would you go? Would you just all like 30 people just kind of scurry?
So because we were on like the tier 3s, all the new kids are now coming in. So we had run away on vacation, and then we're in these like extreme punishments. But because these kids are like new, they've only been there for a few months, they all have like a lot of respect for us. So it's very easy to be like, hey, I'm just going to go to the bathroom right now, right? And so I remember like it was still summer, and when it gets winter there, it's very difficult to run away because it's like the snows there are fucking
in the middle of nowhere.
It's the middle of nowhere. So there's a town, it's right by Tanglewood, which is in like Massachusetts, right? So basically like four of our best friends, we ran into the woods, and it's on this huge mountain, and all we had to do is basically like, if we hide out and like cover ourselves with leaves and find places that we can hide out for long enough, they send like other kids out to get you. The faculty's going out, but like these are woods.
What about the cops?
The cops don't really get involved with that because
they believe the school. They don't believe the kids.
Cops don't really listen. The amount of illegal shit that they do there in terms of just like fire codes and like so much of the shit they do, like work laws, like kids working. It's like the last thing
they were beating everyone in this one.
They beat the shit. The last thing they want is like police showing up. So it's like that's the last thing they want. It's the last thing they want. So we basically like just were able to sleep out in the woods that night, and then snuck back in at like 3 a.m, grabbed the Rolodex, walked 20 miles to the town, payphone, like calling friends of ours who ran away, car to pick us up. And like the crazy thing about it is like when you run away, the school has custody over you. So they instruct your parents, like, don't take your kids back in. Now, my mom, I have like a codependent Jewish mother, so all I had to do was be away for 2 weeks. I'm like, here's the deal. I'm like, here's the deal. I'm like, you're either going to take me back and withdraw me from this school and show me paperwork, or you're just not going to see me. And they're done. So, like, I'm home. But all my friends...
But then what if you went back and your mom, then they picked you up again?
So, the first time I ran away, I remember I told you how we went back and then we were in this punishment system and then, like, what I just told you. So, the first time we ran away was on vacation in New York. And they had my mom's phone bugged. They had the phone bugs.
A wiretap.
They had and also my friend. They hired private detectives, and also my best friend Dove's phone. And I said, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna I need some money." He's like, "All right, I'll give you like $500. So just meet me in like Washington Square Park." And it was like all of us went to Washington Square Park, and next thing you know, I'm getting like pummeled by these like the parents of the other kids. Like, I'm getting pummeled by these, like, dads. They threw us in a van.
Citizen guards.
Right. They threw us in a van and took us back, which is, like, the predecessor to what I just said, how we ran away the second time, which that's when we stayed out. But I had friends who, like, you know, my mom, like, took me back in. I went, like, back to school. Because the thing is, I didn't go to school. But school, like, that's why I got sent there in the first place. School was, like, a privilege you had to earn. I don't remember there ever being school. Like, we talked about, there was no school.
So you were there for like a full
2
year.
years.
2 years. You didn't do a single piece of school.
Nothing. So I had to make up 2 years of school. But what I was saying was like,
you're chopping wood for 2 years.
Basically, like chopping wood, doing manual labor for 2 years.
I'm surprised nobody's ever gone back and like killed the teachers.
So no,
that's what these guys tried to do.
They've gotten attacked a bunch of times. This is what I was saying. So basically, like, when you run away, the punishment system is so fucking intense. So like kids want to get the fuck out of there, so they instruct your parents not to talk to you. So my friends were like sleeping on the subway, like 17-year-old kids like sleeping on the subway. I would like, my mom would try to house them, and then like we get called by like their parents. They'd be like, we're gonna sue you for aiding and abetting a runaway. And they're like, these are fucking 17-year-old kids. You're gonna let them, like my best friend Jesse, who was like sleeping on the train.
That's how you know
every day.
Jesse?
Yeah, that's how I know Jesse. Like still, like some of my best friends, like like the guys and the girls, like when you go through shit like that with people, like you bond with them for life.
Is it still in existence, that place?
That place isn't. Like I think actually my friend Amanda, who when she ran away and she became a social worker, and like one of her main like goals was to like shut places like that down. It got shut down on like 47 counts of child abuse, which is like that would have been in a day. So it's like these are just the ones they brought up at that time, but like when they think you're like a runaway, they would like, there's like bunk beds in front of the doors. So think about like that. There's like everything they do is just like, everything's just like rigged in the moment to solve a problem. There's no like,
because the people that work there are like just prison guards. They're not actual teachers.
No. They're not. They're just people. There's no like
people in the town that got a job, right?
Yeah.
People. They had a thing where it's like kids used to like go crazy and like punch the windows out. This was like a big thing. It was like one kid did it, and then it was like a way to get attention. So we had these big plain glass windows in the front of it's like the double plain glass, right? Like huge windows. And this one kid who we all hated his guts, like we used to torture him, but he used to like punch these windows and like with his arm down. So he like his arm almost had to get like amputated from how much damage he did to this, right? So they came in one day and they're like, we're going to show you guys how to do something called limit structures, which is basically like the other kids putting each other into like these 4-point restraints when someone would like freak out. And you have to imagine, like, if someone does something, like everything, the whole dorm is accountable for anything anybody does. So like when I snuck out to see my girlfriend, they're like, they find like, well, where's the negligence in everybody else? They would call it negligence. Where's the negligence of everybody else in this dorm where Justin would think
Korea.
Where Justin would think it's okay to go and do that? So then you have to like, it's like a court. Like you have to like argue your negligence or not, and like you're always going to fail. So the whole dorm, the whole dorm gets like punished. So you have to imagine when some kid does some shit where you have to like hold them down, like you want to beat the living shit. So we used to like break kids' toes and shit that. Like that kid who used to punch the windows, he used to get us so fucked all the time to the point where like our punishment systems were like, we're all robed, we're on this thing called super cleanup, which is basically from morning to night you're scrubbing and cleaning every aspect of this fucking school with toothbrushes. So we like when he would freak out and we had to hold him down, we used to like just beat the living shit out of him. Like you have to like it's just such a weird like Lord of the Flies situation. It was awful, dude. It was fucking awful.
By the way, the Lord of the Flies thing is actually not real.
What do you mean?
It's a book, right?
Yeah. It was based off a real story, Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
It was based off a real story, but the book was a lie. Like, they actually came together and, like, helped each other out. There's a real story.
Yeah, I'm sure it's, like, fantasy.
The thing that they said...
the actual real story it's based off of goes differently.
Yeah, well, it's like the people worked out to help each other. But that's the very same thing in sports culture. When I was playing baseball, I had the hard ass who was my mentor. Man, we would all get fucked over.
It gets tribal, dude. It gets fucking dude. Some of these punishment systems were so fucking nuts. You're like you're just like I would wake up.
Did you have to do the humiliation rituals?
Oh, they would.
The thing they had all these weird humiliation rituals.
So they would call it humiliation. So there was a kid who like we were just said would talk black. So they fucking tied a pork chop around his neck, and you have to go to everybody and be like, "This be my pork chop." That's what he would have to say. Like dude, some of the shit they do was so humiliating
because he wouldn't stop talking black.
Because that's just how he was. He was like just kind of like this like young street kid he wasn't from New York. I think he was from Baltimore. But that was just how he was. So they'd be like, they tried to like break you down, like just like in the program. The way they did it was they had you like. It was a little different. They had like in that documentary, they had this like specific program that you had to pass, and ours was not so much like that. It was more like how much you can adhere to these restrictions, but the restrictions get so absurd that it's like think about that first one I told you, like the handheld thing. I could give you 30 examples of things like that from like where your hair is in terms of your eyebrow ratio, and like they would like take like how many thumbs it would be. It'd be like, okay, now you have to shave your head. Like there were so many like crazy restrictive things that there's no way that you could actually like adhere to all these things because they're all like made up as they're happening in the moment to like fuck you.
Where do you think the overeater feminine guy is?
Oh, he's dead. I remember when he did. Yeah, he died.
But the guy who ran the whole, like the guy who's in charge of all the things, you're right. He basically stole like AA thing, and then and this other kind of these like culty things they were supposed to help people, but never really did. It wasn't AA. It was like
they basically take like the whole like they basically just took the 12-step program and stuck it in like a fun mirror and just made it like this thing that it's not. And it's like, look, I'm into like 12-step program.
But it was a money-making thing, so they're just like,
Right, this has nothing to do with that, but that's sort of like, if you look at like the roots of where this thing stemmed from, it was like this very like almost Nazi version of like sobriety, where it's like you have to get honest with yourself and you're full of shit and come clean, and it's like it was like just very just like guilt-based sort of like it was almost like it was like a mix between like a cult of religion and AA and like a bunch of fucking people who were there to just like abuse a bunch of fucking kids. Similar to any sort of dogmatic thing like that, but when you're not being like when you're in the middle of nowhere, you're not being watched by anybody. You could and like you're this crazy megalomaniac type of dude. Think about like
and the implication
he made his own
world.
Bad
kids to start with.
Yeah, and no one really was like there was no one there. It was like. It was just sort of like
kids.
You have to have so much money to go there.
The one guy in this thing said that he goes when they sent him to prison. He goes prison was like a 5-star resort.
Yeah,
they were like, what was prison like? He goes, it was a 5-star resort.
There's
kids. To this thing.
There's kids who would do things to try to get like there was like a mental institution not far from there where if they think that like you're like a suicide risk, so kids would like fake that shit to get out of there to go to the other place all the time because you're like at least they follow like a legal system and there's professionals working as opposed to like you're just getting the shit beat out of you but like fucking hicks who live in this town and need a job.
He was a janitor, you know, now he's here.
Exactly, 100%. It would get so fucking weird. But like running away from there was like, I got to tell you, like I don't regret going because I'll tell you why. Because there was something about like like at that young age, like bonding with these kids, like my friends at that age, and like. The whole thing of like running away and like, wait a second, I'm going to like take my life into my own hands here. And like, I'm willing to like get out of this thing, not go home to my mom if you don't want me back and just like own my life here. Like it's a fucking ballsy move to run away from that place. And it takes a lot.
But that's probably not, that's only a small percentage of the people.
Most people are probably fucked up. You don't think most like sure it's like it's the same thing.
The sad thing was like there were kids there that had severe like mental disorders and problems. Like there was this one kid who was like catatonic, and we thought like they would say like, oh yeah, he used to do so many drugs and he took a bunch of acid and so he fried his brain, and that's not what happened. Like the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck at birth, and so like he was operating like with not a functional brain, and so his parents sent him there thinking like this is a place that could help him, and it was like it was awful for him.
So he's basically retarded, and they just sent him somewhere to get the shit kicked out of him for 2 years.
Dude, it was man. He used to basically that. But the shit we used to do, like there were kids. Mike Brown, this really annoying fat Jewish kid who used to wear a Porsche 911 velour brown jumpsuit, who used to brag about how his dad was like a plastic surgeon, and it was like, you know, there's like community showers like in a gym, and so he would sit on the drain and be like, I'm making a bath, and splash himself, and we used to just like piss all over him from the back. Like the shit 15-year-old boys do are fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
You do hilarious shit.
So you were sort of like the town bully at this.
No, because there's big dudes there. I'm a small guy, so it was like, but like, you know, like hilarious. Like you know, you can imagine like these are all funny kids.
But it's like, also too. It is something,
right because it's all the troublemakers.
Yeah, it's all the class clowns. So it's like shit would get like you would have good times, but not because the school's providing good times. I got to tell you this punishment. This one's fucking crazy. So there's something called a sitting, where they found the word fuck scraped in like the paint on a heater. So they're like, who did this? And they bring the whole school together like, who did this? And they're like, no one's going to admit to doing that. No one knows who did it. So they're like, okay, everything is called off and we're going to do a sitting, which means the entire school sits in a circle in the dining hall, like chairs just in a circle, and we are going to sit until someone admits that. So you wake up in the morning, you go eat, no one's allowed to talk to anybody, you go take a seat and you sit there, and days go by. This went on for a month.
No.
And the
month every day, all day. You just sit.
You break to sleep.
But
break
you could
to
definitely raw dog a plane with that experience,
buddy. Let me tell you something. The flip outside would happen. The amount of chairs that kids threw through the windows.
Wow.
Motherfuckers just beat because they're trying to facilitate some sort of group therapy while it's going on,
right?
And it's all it's so weird and bizarre, and so kids are just they flip the fuck out.
Yeah, they'll beat it out of someone. Admit it. You're just like, it wasn't me. Who the fuck was it?
Yeah, but it's not as aggressive as that. They're shit comes up where it's this is because of your father and blah blah blah. It's it gets so fucking bizarre and weird. So this that's where it came. I think during that sitting. One of the kids broke down and he admitted that this teacher was molesting him, and the entire school just went bananas and to beat the living shit out of this dude. And then they're there's the staff is it's not even a staff, they're trying to pull him off, and chairs are getting thrown. It would turn into a fucking asylum, dude.
Wow.
It just got fucking crazy.
There's got to be a couple people that you don't know of that are out there right now or in jail because of this, just psychopaths. You listen, just like anything, you bring a few hundred kids together, there's some weirdos in there. Right.
A few of them, there's this one kid who I'm pretty sure is going to kill me. He hates my guts.
Still.
And I'm he's he's this I don't want to say too much because I know he's going to listen to this, but he's he's one of these conspiracy theory type of weird dudes who is this dude was just always off, and he had and I was one of the people he hated the most, and in a way where he was kind of puny. He was very easy to bully, but he very much deserved it because he was the one who would get us in the most trouble, and I'm very public. So I'll see on comments on posts on things I do, and the friend's joke is oh, beep is gonna fucking kill Justin one day. I'm it's probably gonna happen. Yeah.
Interesting. But, so you were would you say that you were middle of the pack in terms of toughness?
I wouldn't say in terms of toughness. I wouldn't call myself particularly tough, but I was same as in comedy. I'm very well liked.
You were sort of popular at the school?
Yeah, I'm just very funny and well liked. The way
and you were bullying this guy.
No. This was very.
You find out the head Auschwitz guy.
I wasn't necessarily a bully, but there was people who it when the well-being and your day or your month is contingent on the behaviors of someone else, and this person to get attention is intentionally fucking up, and then the whole dorm is getting punished.
He wasn't cracking the rocks hard enough.
Buddy, it was yeah, when you're all right, you seek, it turns tribal. You're we're going to seek revenge on that. He would do some shit to get attention, and then you're okay, well, now guess what? Now you guys, you're all cornered for 6 days, and you're okay. And then when he freaks out, when he throws a fit about the fit that he got you into, and it's your job to hold him down. It just
sounds like jail.
You're gonna pretty much.
It is jail.
It's you're on lockdown because of this guy.
Exactly.
I always think about it the people I've been brutal to, made fun of in comedy. You think some people could take it. And then some people,
but that's all motivated for you to try to be funny and
yes, that's
fun.
all. But
so that's different.
But most people,
you're not a vicious JJ
dude.
Just treats everyone in his life like it's a sports dressing room.
Well,
and some people just are this industry's full of drama kids, and JJ's trying to bust their balls like they're in a baseball dugout. Right?
Well, Chloe messaged me. She's you're so mean to me. I said, I'm meaner to your boyfriend. So don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah, no, I get your sense of humor though, because I get
you know
that.
What I mean?
But I get
you probably have to bleep that.
You don't have to.
No, I'm saying that I said the F word, not her.
That's not the F word. There's another word. That's the F word.
YouTube doesn't love it. But.
YouTube doesn't. But I'm saying people don't get this. It's yo. Dude, yeah, I get savages. There's people I'm around that are just monsters.
Sure.
Like what we did about Danny. He can't even defend himself. We're calling him a fat fucking pig at his own wedding, and he'll laugh.
Yeah, but he's got that. I have that same sense of humor.
He's unoffendable.
But so is everybody. So are the three of us. I notice as I deal with other people in life, you get this too, where it's you bring that same comedy humor. They're if you're out with people that are not comedians, they get they're ooh,
dude,
don't say that.
It's not a comedy thing because I have a million friends like that. It's more just a certain type of dude, any hockey dress and dressing rooms like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure frats are it's just
yes, it's boys. Boys.
At some point, I guess the idea is that you probably JJ gets into trouble probably because you just treat everyone the same, which technically is like, if you actually think about it, like on its surface level, that is you're not discriminating.
You don't have the best social thermometer.
No, I don't.
Right, but they sort of like that is the idea. It's like, oh, you should treat guys and girls the same, and you're just like, well, no, you shouldn't. Like, obviously, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I get JJ 100%. Like I get JJ is just like whatever's in his head is going to come out in this moment.
Well, it's also,
but it's actually even more on his side than that, because people like that. It's like it's not even that he just can't control himself. It's like he's being friends with you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's his form of affection.
Yeah, well,
like, he's the dog in the park that jumps all over you and licks your face and then tries to lick your ass and licks his own ass.
Yeah.
Like that's what JJ is. Like
right.
I get that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but these kids
I'll rub his
these
fucking
kids are
belly.
From
I get
fucking
it.
drama school.
Right, I get
you know what I mean?
It is funny because there is a lot of people that come from like theater. And they're such fucking not just in comedy, just in general. People are so.
They're a bunch of
specific
Kevin
type of
Spaceys.
person.
But even more, yeah.
They're a bunch of Kevin Spaceys.
Even
that's
more
my new.
so.
That instead of saying the F word now, I just call them a bunch of Kevin Spaceys.
Bit of a Spacey.
They tried to make out with me in a nightclub one time.
No, stop.
Yeah, so
it.
people were getting all pissed off when I was like posting like that anti-Kevin Spacey shit. I was posting all these things about what a piece of shit he is
So
after
you
I saw
just-
the documentary. I'm like, this guy was like fucking this kid I knew. Who this young actor kid and like
You
tried
have
to make
inside
out with
Spacey
me. Yeah, he
info.
tried to like make out with me in a nightclub one time when I was like 18. I'm like, no,
Really?
dude. Yeah. Kevin,
How successful was he?
not at all.
What'd you say? Can I
have one?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
these
you're
are not.
out.
Sorry. By the way, Ryan helped me quit vaping. Watch Boyscast. Buy merch. He helps you quit vaping.
You know what's so funny? I watched that interview, and it just made me think about
The documentary.
Yeah,
When he's crying.
Yeah, when he's crying on Pierce Morgan. I watched that, and it just made me think of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. It's like, fuck these people in like this real life situation. That's why it's like I don't trust none of them.
No.
I like them, but I don't trust. Like even
He got proven innocent on all the things. That's why it's like,
I don't.
it's hard. Yeah, but you're saying specific.
Buddy.
Well, everyone said he's a notorious piece of shit. I've heard that from a
Yeah,
lot of
like-
people, but that's all of them. You
So
know
wait,
what I mean?
what was the thing? Okay.
Yeah, what's the inside scoop?
What's the thing that he? So here's the
Breaking
thing.
news.
Yeah, if it's one thing when you're Harvey Weinstein, when you're like literally like, didn't he rape people or didn't he? Or no, with Harvey Weinstein, sexual assault.
There was like, I think it's all like casting couch stuff, but I think his is like way more over the top aggressive.
Yeah. And what was Kevin Spacey? He was just a creep. He was just an old gay creep.
I mean, I didn't spend much time with him. I just remember he was just like he was this dude. We were in this nightclub, and I was just like, nah, dude. Like, no.
What do you do?
It was
Just
a very
came out?
I don't want to. What do you mean?
What do you want? You don't want to what?
I don't want to spill too much in a public forum because I don't give a shit.
Well, but what does it matter though? Like, what does it matter if you spill it? It's not
'Cause I
some
don't-
hot secret.
Yeah, that's true.
If you and Spacey made out, you made out.
No, I didn't make out with Kevin Spacey.
One, could you blame him? In the eyes of Spacey, he sees young Justin Silver.
And he saw, and don't
Can you-
forget, you're forgetting that this is young Justin Silver, like, bad boy, just
Bad boy?
ran away. He found a young runaway,
fresh out of Massachusetts.
fresh out of the juvie.
Yeah. Troublemaker.
Needs money.
Yeah.
I didn't need money.
You're fully.
I was selling coke at the time.
Your T counts at 2,000 naturally.
That is true. That is
T
true.
count.
High T
Yeah, man.
count.
I'm a hyper
Can you-
responder to tests.
Can you blame?
Looks a bit gay, maybe.
Yeah.
That is true. I do.
Could you blame Oscar-winning award
say something?
actor Kevin Spacey?
Can I say something? I want to say to camera right now. I deserved it, and it was my fault. I was asking for it, and it was my fault.
But what did he do that was? I know.
What's the other scoop then? Your buddy? He did stuff with your buddy?
I think so.
Sounds like Spacey was just tearing through Justin's group, hey?
No. This was not someone I was close to, but I remember they showed up at this nightclub, and I was like, I was like, this does not look like just two dudes.
Oh, you're saying
hanging
you
out.
watched Spacey and he showed up with like a little tiny twink?
No, the person I knew, this dude that I used to audition with was like this tiny. He was actually doing well. I can't say his name, but
How
But he's overage. See, this is what
He
I
was
have.
overage. He was
See,
definitely
I have
he
to
was
de-
over 18.
I have to defend creeps. There's a difference between being a
Oh,
creep.
I'm not saying what him
Yeah.
trying to make out with me is creepy. That's not. I'm not.
No, it
claiming
is
that.
a little creepy. But I have to defend. There's a difference between criminals and creeps. I'm a creep. I'm not a criminal. So I have to defend.
He's a weirdo.
Yeah,
Yeah, neither of this was none of this was criminal. None of this was criminal.
Okay, so that's what he was not.
I mean, if you saw the suit he was wearing, that's criminal.
That's criminal. That
For-
hello,
for
call
a
the
gay
fashion
guy?
police. This is not fabulous. By the way, his brother in the documentary, what he wears. Did you see like his Nazi?
I actually didn't watch the
Oh,
documentary.
his dad's
I saw
like his
crying
dad's
to her.
his dad's like a Nazi who would have like You saw that part, right?
What?
Oh, they used to hold like
Oh, I
SS
heard about
meetings
this,
in it.
yes.
Yeah, his dad was like a Nazi, and he would hold like
Proper actual Nazi.
Yeah.
a proper actual Nazi, and then his brother basically says like he was like fucking his brother. His dad was fucking his brother, and his brother wears look up Google
So
Kevin.
you're saying the
Spacey-
Nazi was having sex with his brother?
Yeah, a lot of the people who join those who are like in those extreme things are like.
You're saying
you
that
know,
KKK has like a lot of like pedophiles?
I would think
coming
so.
from Jew propaganda, the
I would think so.
KKK is bad.
But no, I felt bad for his brother. His brother looks like Elton John fucking Liberace. That's how he dresses, and he's
Really?
like, you never saw in this documentary. He's like, I wear these costumes to keep myself distanced from who I really like. He's
way.
so damaged. He's so
That whole family's
What am
probably
I Googling? Get Johnny to Google it.
Oh, I didn't know you could see Kevin Spacey's brother, and you'll see the outfits. It's
that.
like, I felt bad
whole
for him.
family's probably so fucked up, and that
sounds like
That's
how-
interesting trying to like impress your dad when he's a Nazi if you aren't one, and he's like just coming in with like the wrong stereotypes. He's like, oh, those Indians can't drive, right, Dad? He's like, it's not even the Indians that can't drive, you fucking idiot.
You don't have your facts down. I can't believe you didn't see this documentary, dude.
Those Jews are criminals, and you're like, yes, but they don't steal. You're getting this wrong.
The problem is like
You're not good enough at the stats.
Yeah, you're not
You're
good
like
enough.
trying to be a fan, but you're too casual. You're like, you don't even know where this guy played at school.
Hey, Dad, 4/5 of a person, right? He's like, you fucking idiot.
you know why movies and shows were so much better 20 years ago? Because actors didn't speak that much, and now they speak that much, and it ruins the.
You mean
ruins
like
it a little.
you mean like
Ruins it.
publicly?
Yeah, it ruins it. That's why I try not to watch these guys. Like I remember Matthew McConaughey, and I used to love him.
McConaughey's hard to watch after all his
Buddy,
antics.
when they try to tell you, when they do these like speeches, the worst ones are on YouTube, where they do these like motivational speeches, like here's how to make it, and never. I'm like, can we just say that like where everybody's great and talented at a certain level, and you got extremely lucky, and this
Yes.
has very little to
Me
do
and
with
Danny
you.
got into a huge argument with the girls about this the other day, where it was like they were talking about how just like someone's, just so great, and the argument we were making was like if that guy didn't book the role and the next guy who
Right.
was second choice booked the
100%.
role, you'd just be saying this about him,
Dude, when people go like this, when people go, dude, you just always knew that guy was going to make it. I'm like, I'll show you 100 people that
Of
we
those.
said that about,
Yeah.
who are doing
Yeah, yeah.
nothing in this field, who are as talented as that guy, if not better, as good looking, and they're like, right place, right time.
especially
dude.
when you get to movie star territory where they're
Oh my
not
God.
even good actors.
No. Dude, it's like my dog show, right? They're like, how did he book this? I'm like, here's how. I was competent enough with dogs.
You just got-
I had
yeah,
an
kinda
acting
worked that.
background, and when something else dropped out, they fit the show in, and I just happened to do a great job at it because like I'm good at those things. They were like, no, like they're like he's the best at this, and I'm like, no, I'm probably really good at it and very competent at it, and like all these other things played a part, and I just showed up for it, and like the
You know what
chips
it would be
fell,
like?
and
Okay, this is if you think of it like, for example, like a lawyer, right, or a doctor. Okay, so the top like lawyers and doctors that make like over 200 grand a year in the world, there's probably I don't know. I'm guessing like 50,000, 100,000, like maybe, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
Like doctors
In the world, you mean.
doctors.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
doctors
sure.
don't make a lot of money.
Okay, but
much anymore.
let's just say it's 50,000,
Okay,
right? Like
right.
it doesn't even have to be doctor,
Sure,
but the
round
job
number.
that there's 50,000. The difference is in this field, there's more people doing it and only 5,000. So if there was like only, let's say 800 doctors that got to be like
Right.
actually make a career, that would be like all of a sudden you start just picking them. You know what I mean?
There's a great book.
And
There's-
that's what with acting, it's like,
Yeah.
so they pick 800 people. You're like, yeah, but that could have been these other 50,000.
Right. Listen, if you literally like,
So the amount of people that are good enough to do the job is far, far greater than the amount of people that get to do
look
it.
at Con. If you were like, he's good enough to get a Netflix special. Like, if you took all the comedians that had Netflix specials, you're like, are all these just phenomenal? You're like, no. It's like no.
There's there's so many things.
You have
like
to
that.
be. You have to be good enough. Like, you have to be a certain level of skill to be in the casino to play a fucking hand.
Exactly.
And then from them, it's like the roulette wheel falls where it falls.
But my point is, for acting, that certain level of skill is lower as well.
yes.
Like the truth is, like, I mean, what other job other than like farmer you can have this level of nepotism? Like that, you can get a job.
Great point.
You can get a job at Goldman Sachs if your dad's like,
not only
runs Goldman Sachs, but you're probably not going to be the CEO just because your dad
Not
is CEO. Because
not
it'll
only-
take the company down unless you happen to be that great.
Right.
Not only that, too, you could be pretty solid as an actor and have a phenomenal director and a phenomenal
There's a million
editor.
ways. Yeah.
But
Right.
when
And
I
then-
make stuff, when the edited, I've done things where I'm like, I edit it and I'm like, oh, this actor looks terrible. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to fix this.
Yeah.
And I like literally fix it so the
Fix
actor
it.
looks
Wait.
like they're good.
Do you do that when
The
I'm on
thing thing that
camera?
me and JJ did. Yeah.
Do you do it on camera?
The every time. Also, explain when.
Well, I mean, you just pace it wrong.
Right.
Like you literally, like the person speaking at this speed,
Right.
And then you
Yeah.
pace it so it
Sure.
seems like they're speaking too fast or slow. That's like an easy thing. Like an editor can make any actor look bad.
you make women look better and Danny look skinnier.
Well, and women always, yeah. But like normally, I don't care so much about like lighting, but when you're doing it with a girl, you have to because they're gonna flip out if you make them.
Yeah,
look ugly.
and so here he is
High
making
camera angles.
these sixes, a bunch of 7s and 8s.
Make some 8s, man.
Yeah.
There's a great book called The Drunkard's Walk, How Randomness Rules Our Lives. This is a brilliant book, right? This guy is named Leonard Modlino. He wrote Matlock. Remember the TV show Matlock? So he's a great screenwriter, and he also wrote books with like Stephen Hawking, and he's a mathematician. He basically goes through every industry in the world. He's like, I'm going to show you how at the highest levels, how much randomness and a coin flip is the thing that decides this thing. And
Almost like a freakonomics of it.
And he does.
You said the right thing though.
Yeah,
you're
he does
but they're in the casino. That's,
right.
Yeah.
He does sports. He does it with like the finance industry, and he goes. And the way he basically does it, he goes. This is my favorite one. He goes, what are the chances? He takes some like Fortune 500 company that has beat the S&P 500 by 50% for 15 years in a row. He goes, all right, let me do the math on. He's like, I'm going to take how long the S&P 500's been there, how many companies are in it, and then I'm going to. If I flipped coins, what are the chances that a company would do this 15 years in a row? And he's like, people are like, oh my God, this company achieved this, or is like, this thing happened, lucky recipient, this person or this company. It's like the chances of that happening are so great.
But you're talking about the person who picked the stock. The company's actually a company.
Right.
Like if you're the company can be a better company. Sure. But you're saying the person who picked the stock.
Absolutely. So you're saying like this hedge fund guy, they're like the genius hedge fund. It's like, no, the chances of this happening randomly are 100% that it would happen. If you took 100 people in a room, none of them knew anything about stocks, and they all just randomly picked bunch of companies, one of those would have the same outs, the same right.
Some people are better at allocation.
Absolutely, but what we're talking about is like on a certain level, it's just randomness.
Well, I'll tell you what your thing.
You know
I had an economics professor that said, he goes, if there was if there was a coin flipping competition and you started with like thousands of people, or like let's say you started with 1 million people and there's a coin flipping competition, then now you're down to first one you lose, you're out. Now you're down to 500,000. Now you're down to 250,000. Now you're down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So eventually it's whatever 20 coin tosses or whatever the number is. Then you get eventually he goes. Eventually you would get down to 20 people that had won like 20 coin tosses in a row, and every single one of them would have a book about their coin tossing technique.
100%. Right. This is what. So when Matthew McConaughey basically says like, "Here's what you have to do to make it," I'm like, "What? Win the fucking rules of randomness? Congratulations, and you have a great hair transplant." He does.
Yeah. So
but that's basically that's when people argue. They're like, "You always knew he was going to make it." I'm like, "Did you?"
Some industries are different than others. I mean,
Yes,
you could say you always knew he was going to make it. Like once he was like 20 and booked that huge role, and it was the number one hit in the world.
Of course.
No, but in terms of like,
you can screw it up by being bad.
100%.
In terms of sports, there aren't people that should be.
Sports is the least. Acting's the most. That's my argument.
Yeah, no, but he actually. That's what I was thinking.
Sorry, buddy.
I was thinking something. I was like, something where you have to be like so physically gifted. You're like. But you have he does the randomness of that as well. Right. He's like, all right, how many times, like this guy got injured, he came on, he was phenomenal, and then the quarterback who was injured, whose dad knows the guy, comes back in. There's so many people like who's just like,
the whole Tom Brady story is Drew Bledsoe was the prize. He was the franchise quarterback. He got injured. And Tom Brady just got...
Sure.
Next thing you know, that guy's playing for the Argos. He wasn't he?
With Drew Bledsoe?
Then you see it... Doug
Flutie? Doug
Flutie. Then you see it in the opposite. Like, you're like, all right, Tim Tebow. Heisman winner, you're like, this guy never played professionally, really. You're like, how does that happen? Like, right? Couldn't people say, like, you always knew Tim Tebow was going to make it? You're like, did he?
Yeah.
He does, you know what I'm saying? You see it in everything, man.
To me, it always means the least.
But sports more fair.
Acting the least, but sports is the really least because when people are like, let's say a guy who's a CEO, like I listen to a lot of people kind of, talk about how to be better and stuff like that, right?
Sure.
And those guys a lot of times have the like good tips, but whatever. But my least favorite is when it's a 7-foot-tall black guy telling me about like, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, you just got to wake up. You're like, also be like 7'2".
Yeah, I also have to be a god.
It's like you literally were born like 7'2".
Right, Jason Momoa is going to tell you how to make it in Hollywood. I'm like, thank you. What? Be like the most perfect specimen that's ever walked the face of the planet. That's all I have to do.
Doesn't do it for me.
Just believe in myself.
Doesn't do it for me either.
He doesn't do it for you. you, JJ.
No.
Get
Also,
the fuck out. Whoa, before you say the next sentence. Jason Momoa walks in this room right now. He sees you. He goes, I love you
big
right
and
now.
bulky. I don't
Has
like
to be
that.
you.
Get the fuck out.
I don't like that big.
I don't believe it.
I also don't understand. I watch him do these commercials. I mean, it must just be pure money grab, eh?
Yeah.
No, I think he really loves fucking Nextel. He really believes in Nextel and wants us all to know it.
He loves the art form.
They're cable commercials.
But they're so gay.
When he's doing the backflips.
He's doing the backflip. I'm looking at this. I'm like, do you sink that low at that point when you're like one of the biggest actors in the world? He must, what? They just give him $20 million?
You think he just loves the art forms, the other option?
I mean,
He really believes in the self.
no, but at least Aquaman.
Their coverage is so much
He
better.
called them and he
when
was
you're
like-
underwater, the coverage is
No,
so
but
much better.
Aquaman, at least
Called
you
his
can
agent. He goes,
understand
can you get me?
understand.
You got to get me Geico on the phone.
But at what point, like, how much more money do you need?
I don't know.
I'd rather just be hanging out and like
I think that about Fallon the other day because I was like, those guys work like 70 hours a week, and then Fallon also does all these commercials, and it's like I think it is they just throw them like they're like, hey, how much money you make in a month? You're gonna make that in an afternoon, and it's like you just hard to say no.
A lot of them do it in other countries, though. Like
What do you
you'll see-
mean? Oh, to not be
a lot
embarrassing.
a lot of famous actors are like
That's the move.
Like what's the movie, the Bill Murray movie? The whole point of it is Lost in Translation. The whole point of it is it's like, famous actor in America doesn't want to be associated with this thing, so they go do like commercials overseas.
Yeah, if you would tell me, because I know Amish, he did a commercial in like some island, like in the Cayman Islands. If you told me like, hey, we're going to pay for you to go to the Cayman Islands for 2 weeks, we'll get you a villa, you just got to shoot for 2 days out of the 2 weeks.
Yeah, who wouldn't do that?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how I would do it. But if you're like, okay, do this on top of this, on top of this, I'm like, dude, I need to like relax right now.
Yeah, I think they make it very fucking easy. I think like I think a film actor on Jason Momoa's level, he's got plenty of relaxation time.
Really?
I think he's probably pretty busy, but I'm just thinking
They could take
I
a
know what you
month
mean
off
though.
if
you
they
show
want.
up for an hour.
Yeah.
But it is corny, to just
is
like,
weird.
be a movie star that just like can't stop cranking out insurance commercials.
Right.
Yeah, it seems also exhausting.
The best is when you see their careers.
But that's my problem. That is exactly how I feel about Jason Momoa. Is he's like an industry like dork, like he's a
bit of a dork.
feminine energy. Like he's just like I know he can kick the shit out of me, whatever. But like he's just like not.
He's not going
He's
to.
not a cool guy in my opinion. All his
Right.
opinions are corny. Like he's like does whatever they want
Yeah,
him to.
he
where it's
looks
like,
awesome. If you took that away, you're like,
yeah. Which also that goes hand in like he's telling you whatever the cause du jour is that week, and that goes hand in hand with I'll do anything for money. Like there are people there are movie stars that are just like, no, I don't want to do that because I think it's uncool.
I think what we're talking about here is
Like, you don't-
standards, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is standards.
Standards.
There is standard. Like if I would have
And
liked,
JJ's not going to fuck the guy now.
No, I'm not
See,
gonna fuck
now.
him.
Now he's going to learn his lesson.
Like your
JJ.
standards, Kevin Spacey's not going to cut it for you.
no, but I get like if like
your little twink friend though, he got took in for a spin.
It's a twink taking a twink.
well, I mean, they get suckered in because they believe the power thing. They're like,
The crazy thing about the documentary is you see like the guys he did it to. It's like this guy's a fucking Marine. I can't believe it. We have to talk about this when you've seen it. Like the guy's like
I'm
a
not
fucking
watching this.
The guy's a Marine.
There's 95 Me Too documentaries on Netflix. I can't keep up.
there is too much.
Between
shit.
that and all the gay TV on the plane, I just got a guy's got to fucking breathe and sleep.
It actually is a gay, Me Too, gay, Hollywood, Me Too, Me Too. There's the
Jason
one,
Momoa commercial.
dude. There's the one girl, and I can't remember her name, but she was the girl who tried to take down David Cross. But she basically worked on a set, and then she made a documentary about how like there was like the guys on set were toxic and stuff like that. And then she made another documentary how the
It's
guys
ugly
on
male comedians. What are they going to
Buddy,
be?
She made a documentary about like taking down men, and then she made another documentary how the men on that set were.
It's such a rush. Wait, the guy on the set of her. No, don't you guys? How do you not understand what we're doing here? The grip. He doesn't believe in the cause.
Dude, if you're on her next set of her next movie, you're fucking,
You're like this.
you're not blinking.
You better show me up in a fucking attack dog suit.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, Mrs. Ma'am. Sorry. If you're on that set, you're not gonna blink without her permission, my friend. You're gonna end up the star of the next doc.
Did she really? At the end of it, it
I
goes.
can't
And by
remember-
the way, the guys on this set also like.
No,
in
no,
the
they made
writing.
another.
after-
No, she made another one.
That's so funny.
That's like all she does. Is
That's
like,
so funny.
She's making a Guys Are Bad
What does she
documentary,
look
and then
like?
she made a documentary where the guys on the Guys Are Bad documentary.
What does she look like?
I think she's like I think she's half Asian or something. She was the girl that took down David Cross for the Asian joke that said that David Cross said ching chong to her.
Did he?
This is what, she said it was like 15 years ago.
She's
literally remembering. This girl remembered any like slight that she's had from any man ever, or just made them up. I don't know.
There are some angry women, which I don't get, man.
You think?
She's profitable, man. She's made a business out of this.
Oh my God. You could literally like be a hot chick, like a decent looking chick, and just like fucking work your way up the system and not even be like a cunt.
Make a documentary about a documentary. How bad did she take him down? Did it really fuck him over?
Well, he's changed his
What,
act.
the David Cross thing?
Yeah.
His was kind of bad because basically David Cross was like really on the like bad Trump's bad and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, God.
And like every other thing and like, you know, against racism. And then she basically came out and said that, well, David Cross is saying he's so against racism. 15 years ago, I was walking to a show and he looked at me because I'm Asian and said ching chong, ching chong.
I would have done that.
Fantastic.
I would have done that.
That's pretty fantastic. He used to be
He's like,
so
"What's so what?"
funny.
And then this is his wife basically.
That'd be my closer.
David Cross basically said it didn't happen, and then David Cross's wife basically said, "I believe the girl."
No,
And
the fat feminist chick.
what?
David Cross's feminist wife.
I don't know if she's fat.
Yeah, she. Oh, I don't know if
was
she's
kinda
fat. I just said. Well, I know,
I don't really remember.
but her personality's fat. But
Jason Momoa.
Anyway, she sided with like the girl against him, basically.
That's
Oh
always
my
the kiss
God.
of death when it's like the ex comes on and is like, oh yeah, he's like this.
but that's his current wife.
Kurt. That's what I'm saying.
Get the fuck
That's
outta
his current
here.
wife
They're
who
still together.
Who dictates his dude. His like, he was like this bad boy, and now he's like his stuff. I watched him on a podcast talking about biscuits.
Oh, y'all Jim Gaffigan it up, huh?
No, Gaffigan's still dark though.
I know, but he's like, it's very family friendly. Is my
Oh,
point.
it's so family friendly.
Really? I haven't
Yeah.
seen David. I've always loved that.
No, I'm sure my mom's she'll definitely message me every now and then and be like, "You heard about this guy Jim Gaffigan?"
The way I do it with music.
yeah.
Ryan's mom has a crush on me.
JJ will send you a message and be like, "Have you heard of AC/DC?"
Not that bad. The Killers, I didn't find out till last
Found out
year.
about the Killers last week.
Last week?
Last year. Maybe actually 6
Which
months
song?
ago.
Christian rock, man.
Dun-dun-dun. Which
The-
one? What was the song that made you really feel
the
it?
bright side thing.
JJ he went to the bar and he had a drink in his hand yelling, "It's Mr. Brightside." That's the ultimate.
Number one song on the planet for 2 years.
Really?
JJ.
That's the
Yeah.
ultimate.
For 2 years?
Yeah, sorority chick at a bar.
Years.
Not these 2 years, like years ago.
Years ago when you should have first heard about them.
I was an AM radio guy. Sports talk.
There it goes. All right.
Sports
All
talk.
right, coming in with the win.
Literally. And there's the pitch.
Welcome to the dugout on 43454 Kitchener.
And that's a ball outside. Ball 4.
But you know, so in Canada, we've been following this story, but basically, there was this basically waxing salon, and then
this is
trans
phenomenal.
goes into the waxing salon, and the Muslims didn't want to wax the dick and balls, and then basically sued the place, and then I think it was the girl was Jessica Yaniv or whatever.
$35,000.
But I don't know if this is Jessica Yaniv or another one.
I don't know who
because
it
Jessica
is.
Yaniv was like the famous one, and she was going everywhere, and she's like fat and everything, being like
A Muslim waxing place?
so yeah,
They
Muslim.
must have it down.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say. I thought you were saying it was weird for them to have it. I was like, that seems like such a business, like a
Such a
Indian
business.
dude would run or something.
Like, hey, you want to you want to be able to not have to not wear a shirt anymore,
no, the Indian dudes need to go the shoulders. That's their problem. They always.
or smooth as a baby.
I was saying the Natish
Really?
used to have the shoulders.
Either way.
So the
you can go.
shoulder thing.
The tish.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a hairy back. thing.
All of our buddies have the shoulder thing.
It's the shoulders, but I'm just shave that.
They all have the everyone.
Man groomer, bro. Are they fucking sponsoring this
That's it,
thing?
right.
Come on,
Exactly.
there it is.
Yeah, the shoulders. That's a bad look, man. It looks like you rolled around in the barber shop.
The worst
and
is
your
like,
arms were wet.
yeah, the worst is the hair out the back of the t-shirt.
Because
You
it
are
doesn't look like-
fucking peeling, by the way, dude. Holy shit. Ryan, dude, these Canadians are not supposed to be in sun. I just saw the back of you. Look at you, dude. You're like a snake.
I got so.
What the fuck?
I got
you just
so
have to put
burned.
on an aloe after.
You better not commit a fucking crime today, buddy.
It's the golf that did me in, man.
Don't pick it. What are you gonna give it to me? You're gonna touch me in a minute.
Take some.
By the way, we're gonna sell.
I need to go. Yeah, I need to go to the waxing place to get the wax and peels.
So the Muslims didn't want to wax the dick.
And then she got $35K.
The balls.
But They won. That's the thing. So the Muslim place, and I think they're trying to do a GoFundMe and all this stuff now. But it's just like it's so funny they did the court case, and I was actually thinking that would be like a funny show or something, being like the lawyer for that kind of stuff. Like the lawyer had to go like argue that is this not a woman? Do you see your sign says that you wax vaginas? My client is not a woman. Does she not have hair? Does she not complain? They bring her up on the stage. You're saying she's not a woman. They bring her up on the stage and she cries and they go, Exhibit A.
Funny would it be to be in that jury when they get down to the nitty gritty of like, explain the process of the waxing and why this does not constitute fair wax. Like when they get into the nitty gritty of this, that would be hilarious.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's so funny.
Great.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask my client to show her ball pussies.
And the Muslim girl's in the corner crying. It's like basically like the girl pulls out her dick and then she's like, oh, now my husband's going to beat me for having to see that.
Oh, I didn't even think about that part.
Oh, you think it was her own accord? She's like, I can't jerk off another dude or I'm going to be in fucking hot water with my husband, Muhammad and Muhammad.
I don't know why anybody would want their balls waxed. That's so painful.
No, you shave them, dude.
Yeah, you shave
Also crazy. Yeah, also
That's
crazy. I
crazy.
agree.
Shave the balls, wax the asshole.
That's it. I shave my asshole.
Really?
I mean, I don't have a lot of hair, but I just like I'll
weird
just
to have
run
a
around the
smooth
side.
asshole.
Like there's the hole here, and then there's like a little cheek that comes
Yeah.
out. You could just like go voof, voof.
But you don't need a smooth ass.
I don't need a smooth ass. That's right. No one puts anything in there or near
that's
there.
true. I wouldn't-
As far as everybody on this podcast is
Well,
concerned.
you gotta go to this
Kevin
place.
Spacey call.
Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey's watching
The
this right now.
Space-O-Rama. All right. Well, I don't know. That story is just my favorite. But
That was a good one.
That is great.
Needing my balls waxed.
anyways, Justin, you got shows coming up, right?
Yes, this Saturday, which is June 29th, I will be in New Jersey at the Dojo of Comedy, one show 9:30, and then July 18th, I will be in Austin, Texas at the Creek in the Cave. You can get all tickets at IamJustinSilver.com. My social media is at IamJustinSilver, and I made this cool merch, the Anxiety Athletic t-shirts, which you can get find them all on my social media. So please come out to shows, support, watch my shit on social media.
Dojo's amazing, by the way.
Is it? I heard that show's
2 weeks ago. I just did
Yeah,
it.
I heard it's a great room.
The guy who runs it, Mike,
Yeah.
badass.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
That's this Saturday.
unbelievable.
And for people who've been following JJ's since we brought him to New York, you might want to see his Instagram. He's a social media star now from the Che Dorena formula.
Yeah.
How's that feel to be a big star now?
I said right before, we're almost at 40.
How's that feel to you?
Buddy, I don't know.
The slightest bit of fame, this guy's gonna become a monster.
No,
man.
the only
Monster.
thing-
You're gonna
the
start
only-
doing these Nextel commercials, backflipping.
I'll be honest
He's
with
gonna
you.
be doing all of that.
I'll be honest with you. I have a bit about this guy now. So Ryan.
This guy, Ryan?
About Ryan.
Oh, okay.
We're in an Uber. When I first moved here the first week, we're going from Brooklyn Comedy Club to the Cellar.
And they complain about how loud he is.
No,
that's
goes-
my Uber.
And we're talking about success. He looks at me. He goes, "You're not ready for fame." And then,
In all seriousness.
he said this 2 years ago because I couldn't handle it right away. You need to see it. And then I start doing well online. And I'm just sending out nudes to everyone.
Well, I just knew. Yeah,
Didn't you watch the
if
Kevin
JJ
Spacey
became,
documentary?
very popular overnight, it would be bad for him.
Yeah,
I think
bad.
you need a slow thing.
Slow.
Or
I
else
knew
you're
that.
going to become a maniac. First
yeah.
of all, if you made
He
$1
was
million,
right.
you would lose it in 3 months.
tomorrow.
And
Tomorrow.
you can try to fuck everything that walks.
Everything.
You're
Yo.
sending nudes to people who are not asking for them?
Bro, I'm
I'm famous. Here's my dick.
Let me tell you something. I've had to block people that I've had crazy conversations with where I'm like, yo, for sure you're over 21. Look, I'm not sending this until you prove I'm over 21. And then I send it. I'm like, oh, man, I don't know about this. And I have to block them.
But on
long as
top
you
of all that
ask.
stuff,
Yeah.
you definitely should ask. But I'm saying on top of all that stuff, the level that you'd be an asshole to people.
No, I'm not an asshole.
I don't know
In
about
fact,
that.
I've gotten nicer.
And I think that now you're better, but I
Yeah.
think there was probably a point where if you shot up very popular, you would be probably like, who the fuck is this jamoke that thinks he can talk to me?
Who's this rube?
Who's this? But he was right.
Do you know who I am? You'd be saying, you know who I am pretty quickly, no?
Oh,
So
really?
he was. No, I would never say it. Me? No,
I think he's ready now.
I would.
I'm telling you, he's skyrocketing. Man. He's taking Instagram by storm.
I said to him, or I said on stage, I'm like, yo, I'm sending out, dude. There was a Tuesday, I was in my bed sending out nudes, and it wasn't even 10 a.m. And I'm like, yo, I'm not ready for.
Were you
fame.
up from the night before?
No,
you just woke up, had a cup of coffee, and this is what I'm doing.
I hadn't even eaten coffee yet. I'm like, I'm not ready for fame yet. I need, and I had. This was like
that's
a week.
an after 4 p.m. fucking activity.
2 weeks ago, and I'm like, yo, dude, you got to change shit. So I was like,
to any girls or all guys?
Whomever,
everything, kids, everybody.
Dude, I'll show you the DMs afterwards. People are saying, "Hey, can I see it?"
I don't want to be complicit in your fucking crimes.
because you posted your thing being like, I send people nudes, and then other people message you being like, and then you're just sending it to everyone.
Then I had an OnlyFans chick who was so smoke show. She's in Miami this weekend because I'm in Miami with Jay, and we're doing Exotica, the AVN thing.
Yes.
And she's like, send me videos, so hot. She's talking about how we can fuck and stuff like that. Hot chick, totally into the gay stuff that I'm into.
Yeah.
And then she sends me a video and she's farting. I'm like, that's what you think I like? You think I want to see a fart? I don't like fart. I don't like ass play.
She thought you'd kink out on her?
She
was
thought
like,
I would
kinda
love a
pranking you on
fart.
it.
I'm so mad. I'm a fart. I come across as a fart guy.
You 100% do.
Oh,
You really
man.
do. If you told me like I love when a guy like farts in like a Tupperware and then like gives it to me and then I open it up and smell it while I'm jerking
jar.
off. I got real specific on that.
Oh god.
Can I see the nudes?
Yeah.
Let me see them.
Well, you want to see JJ's nudes?
Yeah, I like see like I'm in.
I'd see the farting. I don't know.
Let me
Want to see JJ's nudes.
I want to see
What
JJ's
the fuck's
nudes.
going on right now?
I'll see JJ's nudes.
I don't even answer them, man. They're
Dude, you're so
there's
pop.
So many.
Oh my god, you're like Kanye. You don't even answer those
The
fucking
requests, dude. These requests. JJ can't find your Pride Month. There's like send me the dicks. React to the story.
I want to see him.
Shut the fuck up.
That guy's on the money.
This is the only good.
Yeah, that guy's got standards.
But I was so upset. I'm not into flatulation play.
Who is?
I guess freaks, but you're right. though.
Danny says he likes a good fart.
I don't think it turns him on, but I actually mentioned that in my speech.
They laugh. I think that's gross.
They're Terrence and Phillip, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's gross.
But I don't think it's like during sex thing. I think
No.
it's they think they're funny.
But
A fart during sex would be horrendous.
I once drooled.
Horrendous.
I once drooled on my ex, the only chick I ever dated. I drooled while I was inside of her. She laughed so hard she pissed the bed.
I get the idea of laughing at it because you're like close with someone, like, oh, you farted during
What
sex.
else are you
I
gonna
get
do?
that, but
You
like
go, what the
into it, be like, come on, like go eat a bunch. And
I
hold
can't
it.
imagine liking
Go
it.
eat a
Yeah.
bunch of fucking whey protein and like store it up.
Yeah,
I would
Go
go,
fart
what?
on my dick.
I go, what the fuck did you just do to me?
Right.
You're getting sent to the program.
It's at the program. You're getting cornered and robed.
Oh, next time we have sex, we're gonna be taping that asshole shut because you can't be trusted. Pig.
I think it ruins the moment. Like, I'm not going to be able to.
Of course it does.
Like, sure, you can fart all you want by accident, but don't expect me to, like, nut in you.
I'm very I'm good about like not fart. Like if I'm dating someone, I'm like, you know, like
I would just pretend I didn't notice.
Yeah.
But do you fart in front of them?
I don't. Fuck no. I would start. Yeah, I'm not.
But you know the guy was
like a gross out.
like farts on his chick.
I'm not a gross out guy.
I'm not a gross out guy either.
Yes, you are.
Oh, it's true. But
Jesus, that was fucking easy. That was so easy.
You spit
I'm sorry.
everywhere.
It made me laugh.
Boomer, our buddy, the firefighter in Toronto, dude. His
Him and
ex,
Rouse are gross out guys.
gross out guys. His ex is sleeping on the couch, and he turns the camera on. And yo, he's notorious for being disgusting. He let one rip on her face. I guess that was his thing.
And she wakes up and like, come on,
No, screaming at him. What the? It wasn't normal. It would sound like a whoopee cushion. Mm-hmm. He's a big dude, jacked out of his mind.
Got it.
So he was one of those stores him up. But that's not my thing.
Not my thing.
That's
either.
definitely not my thing.
Not-
Reciprocated when the girl tries to turn us into a gross out relationship. I go, we're not. No. You're gonna be a lady.
Yeah. Be a lady. Be a lady. Wax your balls. But anyways, this week in Miami, this comes out tomorrow. Today?
Yeah.
Miami with Che, 28th, 29th, and then Exotica, and then I'm with you in August.
Oh, you're yeah.
Saratoga
Saratoga, some
Springs.
other ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
Saratoga's is amazing.
All right. Peace, everyone.